Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, and good night. It's day 3 morning session. Welcome everyone to the stream. Let us know if there are any issues whatsoever. But I think we're probably good to go. Matt, how are you doing? How much rest did you get? And what's your outlook for today? Who do you want to see doing well?
I'm doing well today. Rest, not enough probably, but I've got plenty of caffeine. I took one 5-hour energy. I've got another one here, and then I've got finally, as a last resort, my Lando Norris Monster Energy drink. So we'll keep that ready to go. As far as who do I want to see do well today? Well, it's very hard for me to actually root for any individual competitor, but I really want to see Bl4ckdot do well. I know he had a bit of a rough time last year, and he's it's kind of like that was his, how do you put it, his rookie year, and now I think he's ready to step up into the finals. But Demon is also another dark horse. Sebi, a good friend of mine, love to see him back up there on the top. And all the rookies I kind of want to see do well too. It'd be really funny if we saw Spooky, Hansky, Dede make it in there, but I don't think that's technically possible because Biso put up some amazing scores yesterday. So we're gonna have to see how that goes. I don't know. There's lots of good options. How about you? Who do you want to see on top?
I mean, I had a chat with Dede earlier, and it felt like the command. Whoever is trying that command, it's exclamation commands is a list of all the commands. The schedule, you literally just go to my Twitch channel and hit the schedule tab, or else I think there's also an exclamation schedule. Yeah, I had a chat with Dede just as he was setting up his rig and I was fiddling around with my camera. He seems to have a game plan for today. I mean, I won't share it here, but like he's confident. So, and we also have him in the foreground in the camera, which is always nice. So yeah, I want to see him do well. I don't think Bl4ckdot needs our luck. I think he's already put up some monster scores. And then, strange to talk about it in this way, but I feel like CENS is the wild card because he hasn't shown very much so far. Which means he may surprise us either negatively or positively. I don't know. I mean, he definitely has work to do because Biso has put out some amazing scores yesterday. So this is group 2 out of 3, session 2. Last 3 hours for these competitors. This is where, you know, the rubber meets the road. No more sandbagging, no more playing of games or any of that. They've got to produce now or else they're out of the competition, and they've got to hit the top 3, which means on average we will only see 1 out of 3, so only one person for every group go through. Now, I know that is a really simplistic way of putting it, but if you had to pick, Matt, do you think Dede, CENS, or Bl4ckdot will make it out of this group?
I'm gonna have to go. I'd say Bl4ckdot is the favorite at the moment, and I think he's got the best chance. He's already got some amazing scores up, and that, just for some context, guys, they got to put up some scores yesterday or the day before, depending on what group they were in, but they were assigned very specific benchmarks that they had to run. Today, they get to run all of them, and the advantage that Bl4ckdot has is he put up some incredible scores in his first session, which means he doesn't have to spend so much time focusing on those benchmarks. So he can focus on the other 4, and while I would say if you look at CENS, he's got some good scores, but he's not first in any categories. And Dede had a rough go of it a couple days ago. He's got a lot of work to do. So hopefully he got plenty of pre-testing done yesterday, so he can just go cold knock some stuff out. But I think you'd have to put your money on Bl4ckdot, which means if we're taking one person from each group, it would look like a Biso, Bl4ckdot, maybe Demon or Sebi. I would say Demon or Sebi are the most likely from the group later this afternoon, but it could be a bit of a mix-up from our finalists from last year, so I'm looking forward to it.
And yesterday the dream of 3 different motherboard vendors died with the almost certain elimination of Hansky on the OCF. However, the dream of 3 different continents is still alive. So if you think about it, we've got 1 Asian participant in BISO. We've got 1 North American participant in SEBI. And the other 7 are all Europeans. So what I'm actually now rooting for is SEBI, BISO, plus 1 of the other 7, because that'll be a lot of fun. I know, we're in Taiwan. Well, you're not, but I am, and the competitors are.
Yeah, rub it in.
So it would be nice to see. I know Korea is about 2.5 hours flight away, which isn't all that close, but the closest thing to a local competitor we've got is BISO. So definitely rooting for him. And then there's a strong contingent of North American benchers both in Canada and the US. So clearly we can't go without a North American finalist. And then, just pick one of the other 7 for the European, and we're good to go with a battle of the continents. What do you think? Is that to your liking, or do you want more Europeans in the final?
No, I want Sebi in the finals. I mean, he's my American compatriot. I gotta root for him. So, it would be a return to form for him because he is a former world champion. CENS has taken the win the last 2 years, as far as I know. But Sebi is definitely a strong contender, and he knows what he's doing. He's been there, done that. It's kind of like another Formula One reference, a Fernando Alonso situation. He needs to come back and take the gold. So I'm looking forward to that. But how do you pick a favorite out if you don't use nationality? How do you pick a favorite out of this group? I don't know.
Yeah, it's a tough one, isn't it?
Absolutely. And I really hope Dede has everything figured out. He seemed, based on what you told me, and based on just his demeanor, he seems rather confident. He does not seem stressed. So I think he might be in good shape to actually put up some good scores. If you were in his shoes and you didn't have stuff figured out, I think your body language would show a bit of stress. And he's looks a little antsy, but I wouldn't say stressed. I think he's just eager to get going, which should happen in about 4 minutes.
Yeah, so let's take the opportunity to go over to Gigabyte. I absolutely love their t-shirt game. I think they have the prettiest t-shirts of the 3 overclocking teams so far that have been on the world record stage. We still have ASRock to come tomorrow. So in the very foreground we have Salty. Next to him we have Surgeman. Next to him we have the myth, the man, the legend, High Cookie. Next to him, with the glasses and the how would I say, the most blonde hair of the lot, we have Madness. And that's it. That's their lineup. And in front of the stage, we've got, I can never pronounce his name, Niul, French overclocker who works for Bits Power. But one topic I wanted to get off my chest is I've been reliably informed that there is a watch party ongoing both at Gigabyte HQ and Azus HQ. So if anyone in chat has any pictures to share of the projector setup, of the crowd, of the people, of whatever you're catering as you're watching the stream, feel free to link that in the chat. Links are enabled, and we'll throw it up on our browser here. So early days for Gigabyte. I mean, I would imagine that Salty is going to do validation because he's big into that. Other than that, I am spotting a yellow top on one of the pots there. I don't know what that indicates. As I just use my zoom here to try and see. I'm seeing a card that looks a little bit beefier than a display card, so I wonder if they're going to run 3D. Anyway, we'll try and keep an eye on that. Let's go back to the competitors part of the stage. We're still 2 minutes away. What bench are we running? That's probably something worth pointing out, right?
Well, it'll be any of them. There's no assigned benches.
Yeah, but
So
what I mean
it's a
to
wild card.
point out is what are the two benches that they're definitely running since they were not part of the first session is what I'm trying to say. So it's Evolve.
Well,
I know that 5B, right? Is that right?
CENS and Dede both need to do Pi Prime, White Cruncher, and Evolve. And then Dede also has to do Valid and Super Pi. And definitely, actually, Dede just has to do all of them. Because what is that? His 7-zip score isn't very good. Bl4ckdot has to do, it looks like, 7-zip and Pi Prime, which honestly, those are theoretically two of the easier benchmarks in my opinion. He should probably try, he's going to put up a better Valid, I would assume, because he can probably bench better than his Valid that he threw up, and he might throw up a better Super Pi 32M, but he's got a bit more breathing room than the other two. Something else I wanted to point out, and this goes to what Yi said, because he said he's on Team WEG, which Bl4ckdot and Sebi are both on Team WEG as well, so he's rooting for them. But if you look at the teams that are represented, there's only 5 teams represented. Team Russia, WEG, French Legion. Each of those have 2 participants. And then Biso is holding down the fort for Pure, which is, he's working alone there, whereas the other guys technically have teammates that they are working alongside. I mean, that's not really how it works for overclocking. You're pretty much a solo person, but they're at least representing their teams. And that just goes to show, if you're going to join a team in HWBot, there's some good overclockers in some of these teams that I mentioned before. So definitely a place to pick. And by the way, OCN isn't represented at all here. What's up with that?
Well, you participated in the comp, right? And you just weren't good enough to qualify. So what are you blaming me for?
I did not participate in the comp, actually. I did last year, but it was just filler scores. I guess you and I are representing OCN. We're better at commentating than actually participating.
That's not a big stretch, yes.
What's the saying? If you can't do, teach. So maybe not teach, but commentate. If you can't do, commentate. Talk about it. So that's basically what we're at, and we should be underway. People getting started. So they are probably still in BIOS, changing some settings, but
yeah, I'm just trying to pull something up that I spent an inordinate amount of time putting together, and now I almost forgot about it. How does one open a picture in a browser? That should be possible, right? So here we go. This is either gonna confuse everyone completely or make some kind of sense. I was trying to visualize the standings without any numbers, basically. So white means no sub, dark green means first place, light green means placeholder, and the in-between green means a decent score that isn't first. Does it make any sense, or is it confusing the hell out of you?
It kind of makes sense. I'm guessing you didn't pick the order of benchers based on
everything is randomized. Neither the
stages,
like the whole point is that whether a stage is stage 1, 2, 3, or 4 is irrelevant. Therefore, I randomize that, and I randomize the benchers as well, and then I capitalize the 3 benchers that are done benching. So that illustrates how much trouble Spooky and Hansky are, because Hansky is missing a sub and has no more time to bench it, and is not first in anything either. So he's kind of toast, and Spooky kind of similar. Dede also, I think this illustrates how much trouble he's in, because he only has I think that color is off. He only has like a placeholder 7-zip. Oh, yeah. Okay, so that's one issue with this heat map. The what do you call it? The sort of pale green is actually a better score. So Surge has 3 good scores and a first, and 2 unsubbed. Bisu has 3 firsts and 3 good scores. Dede has 5 unsubbed and 1 placeholder. Spokey 5 placeholders and 1 decent. Hansky 5 placeholders and 1 unsubbed. So that kind of puts into perspective that CENS is maybe also in a little bit of trouble because he has no first places. He has 3 kind of decent-ish scores and 3 missing. So not a comfortable position for the reigning champion at all. Bl4ckdot is sort of in the middle. I mean, Biso is sitting pretty. Sebi, I believe, has been kind of mega sandbagging in the sense it's hard to know what he's up to. It's a little bit like CENS. Bl4ckdot is somewhere in the middle because he's the only one with a mix of like all colors, I feel like. So he's got a placeholder. He's got 2 placeholders, 2 unfilled, 1 decent score, and 1 first place. So yeah, I feel like when there's 9 benchers and 6 benches, if you don't have something close to a first place, you're sort of, because then you're playing catch up for the rest of the time, right? Demon, what about Demon? He's also in the middle, not as strong as Bl4ckdot. 2 placeholders, 3 unsubbed, and 1 decent score, no first places. He's kind of in no man's land there. I don't know. I wouldn't say exactly that he had a bad first session. He didn't have a good first session. There was no remounts. There was no sort of quizzical sort of looks from him. However, not comfortable. Far from comfortable, I would say.
Yeah, I would agree. He's not in. He's got a lot. All these benchers have a lot of work to do. I would say Bl4ckdot is almost certainly the one who still has to bench that can relax the most. And
what about Surge though? Surge has a strong score in every bench he was allowed to bench.
Let's see here. He's got decent scores. They're not all filler scores. So you're right.
He doesn't. According to my chart, he doesn't have a single filler score. And my chart is definitely right. Because I made it.
I would say his Pi Prime needs some work. He's the lowest of the people who have subbed Pi Prime.
Okay.
And he's 3 seconds behind Spokey, who we would probably agree didn't have any outstanding subs. And he's 7 seconds almost behind Biso. So I think he's got some work to do there, but his memory frequency valid is going to basically be untouched.
Yeah.
Super Pi 32M, he's also pretty low. He's actually low in everything that he's sub. He's bottom of the barrel.
Okay, I'll fix my chart by tomorrow. Don't worry, or by this afternoon maybe. But also worth talking about the fact that the only sort of bench that is almost entirely subbed by everyone is valid. Close second, I guess, would be 32M. Evolve, we haven't seen a lot of. Pi Prime, 6 unsubbed. So that is actually kind of, in terms of, if we're talking about dark horses for benchers, well, this is the dark horse bench, because, I mean, we can kind of assume that Biso's score is legit, but has anyone else really subbed anything in that? Not really.
Well, that's the thing. We saw several benchers spend a lot of time on Evolve yesterday. Biso spent a reasonable amount of time. I think Hansky spent a good amount of time on it. And neither of them were able to break into the 5,000s, whereas Bl4ckdot is almost to 5,100. So I honestly think Bl4ckdot is dead nut safe in that benchmark. I don't think any of the competitors are going to look at that benchmark and think that's where I need to spend a load of time, because it's one that people don't seem to have figured out a lot of tweaks on. So unless you have no confidence in your ability to do well in any of the other ones, that's one I would write off, put up the best score you can for a reasonable amount of time, and then knock everything else out. That would be my approach. But then again, I'm not on the world stage, so we'll see what these guys decide to come up with.
Yeah. No, I mean, the heat map thingy that I used, it didn't allow me to use different colors. It was always going to be like a grayscale or whatever. But I think the idea is good. The execution has been terrible. Um, no one's in OS yet. Yeah. So we've got Dede pouring. He's looking focused. He's got a fan on there. That's always important. I've gone away from the fan on the rods. Like that is like something that I did for the first year or two, and never again since. I feel like you're opening yourself. I mean, maybe not in a short session like this, but you're opening yourself up to the fan getting exhausted and melting onto the rod, or the opposite. If you have a long session, the fan freezing to the rod, and then when you try to remove it, you maybe bend the rod accidentally. Yeah, no, I mean maybe on the just with the space constraints on the stage, that's the way to do it. But I actually blue tack my fan down onto the board or onto the M.2 shield or onto my OPT or you name it. I don't do the rod thing anymore. Do you?
I do, but that's for lack of a better option, and it does stink because I very frequently have issues where the actual fan itself ices up, and then it makes this nasty clicking sound all the time while
Exactly.
it's running. So it's really frustrating. I've got to find a better method, but I might. You know what I've seen some people do is they'll just get one of those desk fans and point it like have it next to their test bench and then point it like facing up and away. That might be the proper play in my opinion.
Well, a lot of desk fan for here, so that can double up as my benching fan for at home. It's like USB-C powered and
Nice.
stuff.
Sick.
This was,
I like it.
I think this was like $4. It was ridiculously cheap.
Man, what a world that we live in that you can get something like that for 4 USD.
Yeah, but there's a reason for that I won't get into. Let's have a look. What's going on? Bl4ckdot is in OS. Let's trying to improve his
right.
7-zip. What I thought he had a pretty
No,
decent
he
7
doesn't
zip.
have a 7-zip.
Ah.
He doesn't have one. So this is a good start. I'm really curious to see what he gets. This is where the excitement starts having. 10-9 already, right off the rip. There we go. That puts him in third, and he's not far behind CENS or Biso. He needs very little to move up. He's like, what, 150 mips down, which isn't nothing. I mean, that's still going to take some work to get, but this is, I think, his first run, so I'm liking Bl4ckdot's odds already. What are his memory settings? So okay, so 10,000 C32, that's good. His TRP 44, TRAS 48. The TRCD's 56. I feel like that might be a little on the high side. I could be wrong.
Wow.
Let me check some of the other scores.
I have massive news.
What's that?
As it currently stands, CENS has a dead memory channel. And I don't know, I mean, if it's the board, that's just time wasted. But if it's the CPU,
Wow.
he may literally be out of the comp. I don't know what the situation is with him in terms of bringing a spare CPU. A lot of people don't. I would say most competitors bring a spare board, and certainly if you're really in a bind, the judges may give you a spare board. But CPU wise, I mean, even if you have a spare, it's not going to have as good of an IMC. So let's focus on the video.
Gosh.
This could be the end of the road for our reigning champion.
That stinks. That's like having that's like having a mechanical DNF in a race, like having your engine or gearbox break down or a suspension failure. That's rough. But look, it happens to the best of them, and if that happens, that certainly opens the door in the finals for somebody else. I'm not hoping that for CENS. I would much rather see a strong showing from him. And I'm not saying this because I don't like CENS. I'm saying this because for interest purposes, I would rather not see him make it to the finals, but I don't want him to go out this way. This is not how I would want to see it. I do want to see some new faces in the finals. I would be perfectly content with him making it there as well. But going out this way is not what you want to see. Let's see here.
I love how I have people asking me for the stream link. I'm like, just Google it, mate. Like, you literally just go like Elmore Labs YouTube, click on the first result, then click live. Anyway, people are lazy, I guess.
Let's see here. They put it up. That still keeps Bl4ckdot in third, but he still has a bench to sub, whereas Spooky and Biso have both subbed all of the benches. So he is not far behind Spooky. He's what would that be? 29 points behind Spooky. So even if he gets dead last in, what is that, Pi Prime, that's going to push him up into second place as it stands. So
there's
not looking good for Spooky.
Surgeman and Alex in front of the stage, along with our old friend Paul, and also Slams taking a drink at the same time as Matt. So Serge attempted a greeting to CENS, and CENS was very dismissive. I think he's steaming right now. Let's take a look at the
there are a number of reasons you could have a dead
stage.
memory channel.
Yeah, and there's some recoverable ones and some non-recoverable ones, right? So you may just be okay with cleaning your socket or cleaning the contacts on the underside of your CPU, or cleaning your slots, or drying your board. Those are the kind of recoverable ones. But if it's an actual permanent dead channel on the board, you need to swap boards. If it's a dead channel on the ISC, you need to swap CPUs, and there's no way around that.
Yeah, it's going to be rough. Hopefully it's not the CPU, but we shall see. I've had experience with this modern stuff where the PCI Express lanes died on my CPU for Raptor Lake, but I've not seen memory channels die on my CPUs for Raptor Lake. But this is obviously a new architecture, so it might be a little bit more sensitive. New motherboard socket, so we will have to see what happens. Fingers crossed that he gets it back up and running, but this is not how you want to start your second session.
And we have Exaberries also on the world record stage, also sporting the Gigabyte Blue. Love to see it. I hope. Is it my imagination, or is this the biggest vendor team we've seen so far? It's a lot of blue on the feed there. This is like 5 people minimum.
Yeah, I think it might be. It at least matches the current record holder for teams, but I don't know if it's bigger than Asus was. They had quite a few people come in and out, but this one stands out more because they're wearing the blue. So,
all right,
should be interesting.
Dede looking down, CENS in the middle of his remount. I'm hesitant to go to anyone's rig because I feel like this is the biggest story so far. Is CENS going to get up and running? Because I don't want to predict bad things for people, but as it currently stands, he does not have enough scores to qualify for the final. That is pretty much dead certain. So he needs to find a way to get up and running again. I don't know what that fix is because I don't know what the problem is, but it's going to be cleaning your board, cleaning your slots, swapping boards, swapping memory. That is actually also a possibility I just thought of, is maybe he has a dead stick, which is kind of one of the easier things to fix because you are supplied with 4 sticks. So that should be no dramas. But considering how long he's been working on it, I feel like he's already tried the other sticks. and is now onto the whole thing of, is it the board or the CPU?
Yeah, so the next step, assuming you don't have any dead sticks, I would say the next step is going to be testing the slots on the board. Now, I would assume he's already done that by swapping known good sticks from one slot to the other. And then what you'll do is you'll swap CPUs to see if the problem follows the CPU or if this problem follows the motherboard. At that point, you've diagnosed the problem. Hopefully, I don't know if he's got spare CPUs. I would assume he's got at least one. I can't imagine you would show up here with just one CPU unless you're on a really tight budget. It could be. I don't know. I hope it's the CPU for him, because I don't know about the availability.
No,
of
I hope it's the
motherboards at
board.
this point.
It's like, okay, there is such a thing as spinning boards, but like if you swap an Apex for an Apex, you may have to flash a BIOS or something, but then you're up and running. If it's a CPU, at the very, very, very least, that means you've just killed your best RMC. You don't, and in a clock limited comp like this, you don't want that to happen. I think dead channel on a board is a much better scenario than a dead channel on a CPU, but we don't know yet. We just don't know yet. Didn't reset
Carter
BIOS.
points out he could have had a profile loaded. Yeah, a profile loaded that limits him to one memory channel and just forgot to reset it. Let's hope it's not a dumb mistake like that, which...
I mean, last year he
Don't
didn't
get
know
me
how
wrong,
to
can catch out the
enable
best of us.
HPT, so I wouldn't rule anything out.
Yeah,
No,
that's
but
entirely possible as well.
on DD5 there is a difference between one channel and one stick, because you have so-called quad channels. So assuming he was able to get into OS, he would be able to tell the difference between a validation profile and a single stick, because it actually shows up as one 32-bit channel in CPU-Z in the memory tab if you have your validation profile loaded, whereas it would show up as two channels. The capacity would be the same, display capacity, let's say, but the channels do line up with whatever you have enabled in BIOS. HPT Gate 2026, nice.
Hey, I'll be right back.
So we have Slams visiting. Let's go over to the world record stage, because there's more happening there. Look at all that condensation. Is that someone's doing a duocopter there with two fans on the pod? That's pretty adventurous. So we also see a little bit of a glimpse of the board in the back there. That doesn't look like a Tachyon BIOS. Is that a setting? Like, the Tachyon ICE BIOSes are always white. That's a different Gigabyte BIOS. Are they running like a non-Tachyon board? That would really surprise me, because the Tachyon is obviously the best benching board. You can change it, but why would you? The white ICE BIOS is cool. Right. What is Bl4ckdot up to? It feels like he's the only person who's running anything. Still on 7-zip. That's a lot of time. I guess it's only 22 minutes so far he spent on 7-zip. That's okay.
Bl4ckdot going for a rerun. Come on, baby.
That's decent.
Oh
but
my
probably
goodness.
not an improvement.
That's a gold. I think that's a gold.
Is it?
7-zip. 10.9. Yep, 271. BISO is 10.9253. Holy cow.
Just
So he just
about.
took one of BISO's number one spots. It's not going to bump BISO down. He's so far ahead right now, but that's 3 golds for Bl4ckdot at this point. That's crazy.
Wow. I mean, it's starting to feel like
fired.
BISO Bl4ckdot, and in third is the lineup for
Yeah.
the final.
Yeah, it's starting to. Man, he's just crushing it. I like to see it. He had a rough time last year, coming back strong this year. Pretty cool stuff. Wow.
Sebi, I guess. That might be our three-continent lineup. Biso, Bl4ckdot, and Sebi. I'm down with that.
Yeah, that would be a good lineup for sure. So, we're just gonna have to wait and see. We got what, another 6 hours plus before this whole thing ends tonight, today, whatever it is, and so we got plenty of work left to do, and let's not entirely count out.
Oh, I didn't think phones were allowed on the stage. Call the judges. CENS just got his. I mean, there is a judge right there, so.
Let me check my settings because we're having that clipping issue. I don't know why it would have changed my sharing settings again, but maybe it has. Let's see here, view video settings.
Yeah, that doesn't relax. Yeah, there's not much going on with Dede, so I am taking the opportunity to zoom into the center of the stage. I mean, he's applying CENS is applying thermal paste, so he's kind of nowhere near getting his rig running, from what I can tell.
Yeah, he's not having a good time, that's for sure. Bl4ckdot's over there cooking. Dede, I haven't seen anything from him yet. Hopefully he's not. That doesn't look like a happy face from Dede, but
Sloppy loud,
Yi,
but I'm not sure it helps.
Come on, Dede, let's get some scores up. I want to see you cook. That would be really good.
Does he have? That is so smart. I'm glad I zoomed in because Dede, I think, has earbuds in to deafen the noise of the crowd and the DJ and all that. That is actually a big brain move. If you know, I'm never going to be in this comp, but if I ever were, I would certainly copy that. That's really smart.
Or maybe he's got earbuds in so he can listen to the stream while he's competing, so he can have an idea of what he's up against.
I mean, that's not allowed, but if you can get away with it, I suppose why not?
Yeah, what's
we
the
have no one
saying?
in
If
OS.
you ain't cheating, you ain't trying. Not that I'm condoning cheating, but the old saying goes, if you ain't cheating, you ain't trying. So.
I mean, he is nowhere near getting his rig up and running. And you know what? In this kind of comp, setup time is higher because if you're swapping your CPU or you're swapping your board, you're essentially having to remount, two pots because you need the memory to hold. So you have a lot of thermal interfaces there. The sticks, the DDR5 sticks are single-sided, right? So at least you don't have to apply thermal paste on both sides. So you have the, what is it, eight ICs per side. So you have 16 little bits of thermal paste to apply onto your sticks. And then you've got to screw on or attach somehow the spreaders. Then you've got another thermal interface between each stick and the pot. So we're already up to 18 paste jobs that you're applying. And you've also got to do the CPU. So you have to redo. I mean, maybe you can get away with just pulling the sticks and letting them dry and not redoing the spreaders. But if you want to do a good job, the same job you did previously for the previous mount, you have 19 thermal interfaces to reapply. It's not like I'm. This is hard to do standing up on a stage that's really loud. That's. Yeah, it's not trivial at all. And
he's under a lot of pressure for sure.
We can't tell how far along he is, but all I can sort of glean is he's still applying thermal paste to something, to a stick or a CPU or whatever.
Yeah, I this is not something you want to see for anyone. It's gonna be heartbreaking for him. I mean, he's got 2 world championships under his belt, so it's not like he's always got that going for him. And if he doesn't come back and win it this year, I'm sure he'll be in the finals next year. He's definitely a strong competitor, so I it just stinks when you put all this effort to travel across the world to compete, and especially when you're a reigning champion, the expectation is that very high that you're going to do well. So I definitely understand how frustrating it is, but he's got 2 world championships. Wouldn't be the end of the world if somebody else took one for a change.
Not as far as I'm concerned. So I don't know how I feel about spectators getting involved like this. Like, it's an individual competition, and it goes both ways. I think if I were the competitor, I would tell them to go away. But also, if they're providing actual sort of helpful advice, I feel like that is kind of on the verge to being not okay. I mean, standing there and just watching, I think is fine. But they're having a full-on discussion with him, you know. Uh,
Yeah, I mean, if nothing else, that's a distraction or help. Neither of which should be acceptable. If I were a judge, I'd be like, hey, don't mind you getting up close, but do not distract the competitors. That's not allowed.
let's check in on Bl4ckdot, who's the only one benching. So, I mean, he's cruising, right? Like, if he's seeing 2 guys next to him struggling hard, and he was already in good position at the start of the session, so he's just moved on to Pi Prime. He's probably gonna knock out like a first or second place, you know.
Low effort scores and just casually take a gold. I mean, that's basically what he did for 7-zip. And then he can focus on 32M, which he's not in a bad spot for 32M. Obviously, Biso put up a killer score at 4 minutes, 32 seconds, and 500 milliseconds effectively, being almost a half a second ahead of the next closest person. But Bl4ckdot is at 4 minutes, 33 seconds and 9 milliseconds. So he's only got to gain, let me look at this. He's got to gain less than 100 milliseconds to take second from CENS. And then he's got the big uphill climb to Biso. So we'll see how that goes.
Yeah, I mean, fascinating stuff. That things are starting to sort of look cemented into place in terms of black screen.
Oh, it was on the last loop too.
But he's laughing. He knows he can afford that. He turned around and just gave a big smile. So how should I say? I mean, nothing's set in stone, but I'm actually quite surprised that at this point in time we can confidently say we already know 2 of our 3 finalists. Because, yeah, with CENS on Struggle Street, that really opens up a lot of opportunities for other people. I have absolutely no clue who would be the third. If we're just gonna talk hypotheticals for a second and say Bl4ckdot keeps cruising, Biso's scores hold up, those 2 are finalists. Now, who are we picking between for the third spot? If it's not CENS, not Hansky, not Spokey, not Dede, let's say. Just to throw a hypothetical out there, we've got Serge, Demon, Sebi. If that is the scenario, who do you think has the best chances?
I would put my money on Sebi, but
he has a lot of work to do. He's a talented bencher, but he has a lot of work to do in 3 hours.
He does. I would say, man, this is tough because Surge has an amazing CPU or memory frequency value. Incredible. So you can't count him out, but he is pretty far behind in some of the other benches. In fact, he's very far behind in 32M and in 7-zip. But that doesn't mean he can't claw back. That doesn't mean he hasn't done some testing to see what he can do. Sebi, can't count him out because he's a former world champion. He's got the skills, he's got the talents. But Demon is also a machine. He knows what he's doing. I can't pick a favorite. I would.
It's super close. Sure.
I'm sorry. I gotta say Surge Man would be my least expected to make it into the finals out of that next group. But it might be a tie between Demon and Sebi.
Yeah, and it looks like not a big deal, but it looks like Twitch have applied some sort of throttling to me. At least I am not getting the 1080p option, which is strange. Big deal. 720 is plenty. So my Louisa coffee has had its effect on me. What I'm going to do is I'm going to stay here. We in terms of the camera view, we have all 3 benches in frame, and certainly this is a good view to stay on for a bit because CENS is still not up and running again. There you go. He's swapping board.
He's removing the motherboard.
Yeah,
oh my
he's
gosh.
on his backup board, and that is the right move. I feel like. Because I don't know what he was trying to do earlier, like he was trying to recover the situation somehow, but he's at this point in time, he's gotta assume it's the board or the chip or maybe even both. So he's gotta start going onto the backup board. I know it's a pain with the bias profiles and stuff, and I actually don't know if also only 720p. That's interesting. I might open a case with Twitch about that because I'm an affiliate and I should have more than 720p. Anyway, I assume that the USB stick being used for the transfer of results could potentially also be used to transfer bias profiles from main board to backup board. So he's not completely dead in the water in terms of having to start from scratch again with his profiles. But yeah, swapping boards does throw you back a bit. But I still feel like it's the more desirable or less undesirable scenario compared to having to swap CPUs. With that, please take over, Matt. I gotta go somewhere, and then I'll actually also take a glance at the stage to see what the mood is like. I'll try to be back as soon as possible.
Sounds good. All right, something else that we didn't mention is, I don't know if you caught that, but Dede walked over to Leaguehoofd and tried swap, and I don't know if he swapped SSDs. It looked like he was swapping SSDs, and to give you guys some information, that can be done if your operating system has been corrupted. So they've got backups for the benchers, but it's kind of a last resort thing. They're not going to let you just swap them to test things out. They have to have some reason to think your SSD is bad. And if that's the case, I feel like Dede is going to feel a little bit cheated because he was making that argument, was it yesterday or the day before? I think it was the day before yesterday when he was testing. He was thinking the OS was corrupted. Now, the judges, from what I understand, basically said, no, something else is going wrong, figure it out. But if that OS was corrupted and that was the same one he was using 2 days ago, he might be a little bit peeved that he didn't get that new SSD sooner. Having said that, he is not in as bad a shape as CENS is. Whipping out that second motherboard is very rough, and looks like he's laughing with the judges a little bit, and he's not out of time. Let me look at the time slots for these guys. So they've got from, let's see here, this is we're on June 3rd. No, it's June 4th there, sorry. It's June 3rd for me still. But they've got till, what is that, 1:10. So he's got about 2 hours left to figure out some stuff. But he's basically, that when you've got so many benches you've got to rerun, he does not, that's not a lot of time. He's got to mount everything up, pull down, get his profile loaded, hope that everything's working, and then run benchmarks like Super Pi 32M is a 4.5-minute run. Y Crunchers over a 2-minute run. Pi Prime is over a 2-minute run. 7-zip is it's not a timed run, so I don't know. But and then he's got Evolved. He's got to run, which is not slow by any stretch of the imagination. So it's definitely an uphill struggle for CENS right now. I hope Dede figures everything out, because right now Bl4ckdot is just walking away with this. I don't know if he's subbed a Pi Prime score yet, but he's very close to being able to sub a score. I know he crashed on the second to last. We've got 2 judges over at Dede's bench station. That's not a good sign. Norris, I think that's how you pronounce the name. You gotta stop posting in chat things that are not allowed via Twitch. So yeah, just clean it up a little bit. Nightbot's doing its job. But yeah, I think that Dede is having a really hard time, and this is not how you want to see this go down. You don't want to see 2 competitors knocked out of the stage. I mean, Bl4ckdot might like this. He's basically walking away with the competition. He's top in 3 of the 6 categories. That's crazy. And he's got a filler score on his memory frequency valid. He's probably towards the top in Pi Prime if he can get a score out. So the only one where I expect he's got some real work to do is going to be Super Pi 32M. And that's going to be sitting pretty. Him and Biso are just crushing it this competition. The next group, Surgeman, Demon, Sebi, they've got a lot of heavy lifting to do. But I will say this, they have the advantage of knowing the scores they actually have to get in order to qualify. So what that means is if Bl4ckdot and Biso are holding the tops in all the categories, they basically know I have to clean sweep 3rd, or I have in at least, what would that be, 4 of the 6, or maybe 3 of the 6. They don't have to get the top scores. They're obviously aiming for that, but they don't have to get the top scores. That is the advantage to going last. You have all the information you need that you need in order to move on to the finals. So as rough as it is with Bl4ckdot and Biso doing so well, I think it's definitely, you can't count out that last group yet. Because last year, I believe, I'll have to look at it, but I think last year we saw a couple of the guys from the last group go on to the finals. And I think that's always a possibility.
Yeah, so I just passed by the stage. Bl4ckdot is cruising. Dede, the copy of his monitor up on the wall behind him was showing the infamous getting device ready screen for Windows 11, which is not a good sign. And CENS, I mean, I didn't want to stare, because he's obviously in a tough spot, but it looked like he was nowhere near having his rig up and running. I also walked past the world record stage. Let's just go over there for a second. There was some Cinebench being run, maybe as Simulate 15, so as a stability test on one of the rigs, and then another rig was on validations. That's all I could see. Yeah, so incredibly, we only have one bencher up and running, even almost an hour into the session now. So, wow.
Which, to be fair, Bl4ckdot deserves a little bit of attention on the stream, because I think we couldn't see his rig last time. So, of the people that we get to see, it's kind of good that we get to see him.
Yeah,
Dede,
specifically for Evolve, because he had a non-default browser setting enabled, which just my capture card wasn't able to cope with, I think. But his other runs we were able to feature somewhat. But you're right. I mean, it's he's also one of the favorites. So it's if we're gonna have someone up and running, why not Black.dot? Yeah, Dede is in a world of hurt. I mean, he already had a big mountain to climb, but now he's very, very close to elimination, I have to say, unfortunately.
Well, and I don't know if you caught this, but I saw him. I think he swapped SSDs with. I think he swapped SSDs because I saw him walk over to League Hoof with one, and I didn't see if he swapped them, but I would assume that's what he was doing.
Yeah. And here's you know, a picture tells a thousand words. Not a lot going on right now.
Yeah, but Black.dot, like, there would have to be some incredible scores later on this afternoon for Black.dot to be knocked out. As long as even if all he did was post a last place Pi Prime, he's sitting so pretty in some of the other categories that it would be very difficult to beat him. Between him and Biso, there's some really incredible scores. And I was telling the chat, the big advantage that the last group has is they know what they have to beat to make it to the finals. These guys, they've got Biso as a benchmark and Spokey, but they don't know what the guys in the next group are going to post. So they still have to go balls to the wall right now. Last group does not necessarily have to do that.
Yeah, absolutely. 720. I'm just looking at a few different settings here. I do apologize that I'm blending into the background. I don't know what they've done at the venue with the aircon. It is absolutely freezing. I know it was last week, so I'm not taking any chance in that. I've donned a hoodie, which is just bizarre because it is about 1,000,000 degrees outside. But it is what it is. I'll have to ask G.Skill for a G.Skill branded because I don't have one. But as long as I have one with me, that's good enough. CENS, the CPU pod is going on. He's getting closer to maybe posting his rig. It's certainly, he's not in as tight of a spot as Dede is because he has better scores already up. And I feel like if it was the board, he can probably just smash out some scores pretty quickly, whereas Dede is just afloat in the Pacific Ocean with no land in sight. I don't know how he can pull this one out. It's not beyond the realm of possibility, but yeah, he's in a really tough spot.
Yeah, for sure. This is not how you want to see it go for qualifying. You really want to see head-to-heads, people duking it out, and I really hope that they're able to get things rolling. So, yeah, Dede's in a pretty rough spot, and we're just going to have to hope that some miracle happens right now. And Black.dot getting ready for a Pi Prime score. I'm excited to see what he can pull out. Biso's got a crazy one up, but you never know. Black.dot already beat him in 7-zip, so let's see what he can do in Pi Prime.
Yeah, and he's benching 10,000 cast 32. He made a few adjustments to his timing in OS. So, yeah, he's cruising. I have there are no signs whatsoever with Black.dot that he's weak in any bench, that he's concerned in any way, that he's having any kind of rig issues. He's today's version of Biso, basically.
Yeah, basically the way I'm looking at it is he can get this score up and then just kind of mess around for the rest of the session. Like, I don't think he will, and I'm not saying I would recommend that because he can improve on 32M, he can improve on his valid, but if he gets gold in this, he is the guy to beat for sure.
Yeah.
It's crazy, and he's benching at his valid sub. He's benching, his valid is 5,000. He's benching at 10,000 effective. He's benching at that, so he basically can just loosen up all of his timings, boost it to 1,200, and he'll go up in that stage. Especially since Spokey never improved his valid. Biso is behind in valid. He does not have to do much to overtake Biso, Spokey, or Hansky. It's not until you start getting into the SEBI range of 6200 plus that I think he's going to start struggling. So he's going to gain some points there.
Yeah, and we have a question asking about why does PyPrime report Windows 10? It kind of like that kind of shows Microsoft's hand, right? Like Windows 11 is a variant of Windows 10 as much as they want to make you believe that it's not. So like I don't know if we're still using the Windows NT numbering, like version numbering system, but you used to be able to look at the Windows NT version and then tell what OS was a derivative of another OS. So like Windows 98 second edition was a derivative of 98 first edition. Um, XP was a derivative of Windows 2000, was it, or something? So yeah, like so basically, hardware info considers Windows 11 not different enough to Windows 10, and that's why that's reported. But then I assume the version string that comes after that then does identify it as Windows 11, because didn't Windows 10 wasn't Windows 10's last release like 22H2 or something? So if it's newer than 22, then that's automatically in Windows 11. That's how you can tell. So let's check in on the CENS situation. He's gotten his towel out, which is usually one of the last steps in prepping a rig. We may be getting close to a post. Now, the crucial thing is, will it be a post with one or two sticks? Both in terms of...
I don't know.
I mean, is there any point in him sort of, how would you put it, starting off with valids? Like maybe, but I mean his valid is pretty good already, right? So there's no point there really. He needs two working sticks to be able to work on the other 5 benches, especially the likes of Evolve, which he doesn't even have a score in, right?
Yeah, he still needs a score in Evolve, Y Cruncher, and PyPrime. So I don't know. I didn't see him actually try to post to see if he's got both memory channels working on this system, which is something I would do. If I were benching, I would definitely check to make sure I've got both channels on the new board or new CPU, whichever one he's running. So we'll see.
Yeah, I mean, he may, if he doesn't have a backup CPU, then this is his last shot anyway. If he does have a backup CPU, then he may have already tried it on the other board and not gotten the second channel. So in that sense, he's kind of saving time by fully prepping his rig, because in either case, this is his last shot. He doesn't have, I wouldn't imagine he has a third board with him, for example.
Yeah, third board would be quite the baller move. I can't imagine he's got a third. So if you hear me typing away, I've got a mechanical keyboard because I'm a really annoying person, and I'm actually chatting with Sebi right now, and I have an understanding of what happened and kind of what to expect. I'm not going to give away everything, but I asked his permission if I can discuss this on stream. So he was having major stability issues with, he's got a 285K, and he was having major stability issues with it, and he thinks that the board got wet.
Okay.
And so because he cleaned up everything and it seems to be working, but before he got everything cleaned up, he thought maybe his CPU was dead, so he ended up buying a backup CPU. From my understanding, everything is working with the 285K, and he's got stability on it. His backup CPU has a stronger IMC, but not completely stable. So it's going to be interesting to see what he rolls up with. But he could definitely be a strong competitor still. He knows what he's doing. He's been there before. Knows how to roll. So don't count him out yet.
We have someone in chat saying the auto moderation bot is too strict for blocking a message, which was all caps. How do you buy beers here? First of all, this is not a beer stream. Secondly, all caps is never okay. So if anything, the bot isn't strict enough. Asking about the
Just
venue.
wanna have it
Go
on
to
one.
7-Eleven. They have an entire fridge full of beers. And now, please never mention alcohol again in my chat, or you're getting banned.
Yeah, that's what. Why is this the place you would ask? Wouldn't you just walk up to somebody and ask?
But the other
Like
thing is,
I don't
the only
understand.
shop on site is 7-Eleven, and they have beer there. So ask the question. It's obvious. All right, so we've got slams in front of the stage. CENS is still not happy. He's still doing things to his rig. Wow. Let's go
This
back
is
to
definitely
Bl4ckdot then.
interesting. Yeah, for sure. I still don't think he's gotten a high prime run in. I think it's always crashing at the very end. So he knows what he's doing. He's getting close to finishing, but he's not quite there. I would say, dude, you're in such good shape. Get a filler score in, because the last thing you want is to fail just because you didn't have the best score, or because you weren't willing to put up a filler score. Like that, I think that's kind of an important thing to grab, but I could be wrong. If anything, we saw Biso ignore my advice yesterday, and it worked out really well for him. So it's entirely possible that Bl4ckdot has the same mentality, and I wouldn't blame them because look, they're better than me. They're up there on the stage, so definitely something to consider.
Right. Let's check in with Gigabyte, because I feel like there is, in one sense, there's so much to talk about in the competition because they're monumental events happening. But in terms of the benching, there's not a lot to talk about. So let's go over to Gigabyte. We have one of our competitors, Surgeman, in the foreground with the closely cropped hair and the slightly graying beard and the glasses. I wonder what he's working on. I can see that he has a two-pot system in front of him. And then behind him is Serge from Germany, by the way. Salty from... I always mix up the French Canadians and the French. I think he's French, full-on French, right? Salty with the beard.
Exaberries?
No,
Exaberries is Canadian.
Exaberries is from Vancouver, I know that, but Salty is just regular French, right?
Nope, he's French Canadian. He actually lives in the same time zone as me, just north. So he's
okay. So we've got let's try this again. We've got Surgeman from Germany. Then next, talking to him, and now doing a bit of touring soon. We have Salty Croissants, the French Canadian, and behind him we have High Cookie from Gigabyte, also pouring on in a system. There's a Cinebench R20 run going on, or being arranged, screenshot-wise. I can kind of tell. And then Demon is checking in. He's at the venue early, man. He's ready for the afternoon session. And
let's do it.
Behind High Cookie, things get a bit blurry, but we do have Exaberries in the long hair and Madness looking straight at the camera now with the blonde hair. Yeah, they seem happy. They seem like everything's sort of working out. And let's go back to CENS Cam. He's pouring. I'm imagining things. I think he may be back up and running.
It's possible. Yep,
he is, but he's biased, so we'll give him the 15 minutes or whatever he might need to get fully set up. But it appears as though his issues may be fixed. So I'm looking at the timer. He has 2 hours left. Certainly entirely possible for him to knock out enough scores to qualify in that amount of time.
Yeah, can't ever count out the reigning world champion, that's for sure. They have a way of coming back from behind. But I'm really hoping Dede gets his issues sorted out. It's got to be rough. And I wonder if like his memory sticks have a weird cold bug. That's kind of what my brain is going towards. Like, I assume he's pouring LN2 on them, and that's a hard thing to torch up properly and get a good reading on. So it's really, really hard to say. But that if you had to like troubleshoot his issues, where would your mind be
Uh, it's tough because and there's Mr. Biso arriving with his kit and his face mask. So it sounds like we're gonna have, or it feels like we're gonna have an on-time start to the afternoon session because all three competitors are already on site. So there's no reason why we'd have a delay, which is good to see. Um, it's and like when everything's broken, it sometimes sort of feels like it doesn't matter what you try because everything that you try is gonna fail too. I would
Yeah.
lean towards trying to get one good score in one of the stages, whichever of the stages I feel like is the easiest. So probably something like 7-zip or Pi Prime or maybe Valid, depending on what the exact nature is of the issues. Yeah, rough day at the office for Mr. Dede.
Yeah.
So yeah, CENS is still there. He's obviously, I feel like, chosen to just build a new profile, which may be smart depending on the exact nature of his issues. Maybe he doesn't want to load up the profile he had on the other board because he suspects it was a contributor to his issues. So it's sort of looking like he's building a new profile. Let's go to Bl4ckdot. No, but he's in bias, so let's not go there. Well, I haven't bought my dried fruit for the day yet, or else I would show that off. I will certainly go to 7-Eleven and not buy beer like one chatter, but I will buy dried fruit because it's a tradition by now. What else is going on? Yeah, I don't know. I had to go to the other hall. It's certainly a little bit different over there. They have the keynote space on the 7th floor, which I've never got. In all this time, I've never actually gone to a keynote at Computex. But you know, hashtag priority.
Yeah. Gotta prioritize the stream and the overclocking competition because that's what we're really here for. I know there's a lot going on at Computex. I'm sure that there's a lot of information coming from NVIDIA, how they're going to be completely abandoning the consumer market in favor of data centers and things like that. Which you have to look at it this way, guys. This is an example. I want to talk about this for a moment. Lots of vendors, specifically memory vendors, but NVIDIA, I'm sure AMD is doing the same thing. They are working on data centers because that's where the money is. Meanwhile, G.Skill is over here hosting a competition for overclocking, which is exclusively consumer related. Only company in the world doing it. How cool is that? I mean, if there's no other reason to tip a hat to a company, I think that's it. They are showing the consumers some love. I know they can't dictate the price of memory because they don't actually manufacture the ICs, but this is very consumer level support. And I gotta say that in the world that we're living in as far as tech goes, that's something that we should all be very, very thankful for because there's no benefit to the data centers for running edge of stability memory overclocking. They don't care about that. They care about stability for their systems. We care about crushing benchmarks. So I really think we all got to give G.Skill a huge shout out for that, if nothing else.
Absolutely. So we once again have some models in front of the stage, showing off some of the wares that G.Skill sells. Much more sort of like elegant dress code today, though. Like not that sort of fluorescent yellow and orange, but black dresses. So that's good to see.
Yep, we've got Gigabyte doing some stuff.
I love the little smoke effects. It's legit.
Yeah, it looks like Gigabyte is just having fun cracking on, seeing Salty pour some LN2 into the mem pot and now the CPU pot. He's done a lot of work to figure out how to do mem overclocking. So keep an eye out for frequency valids from him and Gigabyte in general. I don't know what other benchmarks they're running at the moment.
Hard to
They were
tell.
running Cinebench, but it's hard to tell at the moment. But yeah, this is a really cool event. I wish there was more going on. Maybe CENS is finally in OS. I'm not sure, but hopefully we can get an idea if he's actually able to start doing some benchmarking.
Only Bl4ckdot, as
Black,
always. Lone Ranger.
he's back at it. Let's see if he finishes this run. Come on, come on, come on. 137. So that's not the fastest, but it is the second fastest. So go ahead and save that. That'll put you in second. That'll get you 60 more points. That'll boost you all the way to first place right now. So just play it safe, man.
I assume he's still at
it.
10k cast 32 and has just messed around with the minor timings and that kind of thing, or just rerun.
Yeah, we're gonna see his memory settings here in a moment. And let's see here, memory.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
I predicted the future.
Looks like he tightened TRP and TRCD, but loosened TRAS. And actually, 700 TRFC at 10,000 is not bad. So he's definitely got some things dialed in. And loading up hardware info for the competition for the judges so they can see everything. Very important step for this live competition. But looks like he's going to be posting that score shortly, or one of the judges are, and he's going to move up ahead of Biso. Man, he's cooking right now. It's crazy.
Carter, we don't exactly know what CENS did, but for sure he changed his motherboard. The feedback from one of the judges was that the previous setup had a missing channel, so I can only speculate, but I would imagine that he at first attempted to clean out the slots in the socket. That didn't help. I don't know if he has a backup CPU. So like once you're talking permanent damage, then it's either the board or the CPU or the kit. But there are spare modules available, so that would be a pretty straightforward thing to fix. So I'm guessing it was actually the board, because he's pouring down now. So swapping the board appears to have fixed things, but it's a little bit too early to tell because we haven't seen any actual runs from him yet or any settings. So we're keeping an eye on that.
Looks like he might be in OS now, but it also looks like Dede's having a really rough time. It looks like his system's basically torn down.
So let's give
mounted.
CENS his time here. So he's in MS config. I mean,
of course we go and he restarts.
Dede is in a world of pain. Yeah, I agree. So, I mean, that tells me that he's kind of happy with his setup now, right? Like, you wouldn't fully insulate your board and fully pour down if you didn't have both channels up. And you certainly wouldn't boot into OS and start applying MS config if you weren't ready to run a bench. So he's getting close.
Yeah, he certainly is. And like I said, you can never count him out. It might be one of those things where he's like, okay, I have to make it into the qualifiers, because the thing we were talking about a couple days ago is, if you're a former world champion and you know what your CPU can do, and you know it's extremely good, you may sandbag a little and say, I'm not going to show my hand. I don't want these guys to know what they're up against. So he may have been holding back a bit, but it's crunch time now. So he may be like, I've got a profile. I know what these sticks can do. I'm going to just pedal to the metal, get myself into the finals. I can't mess around with trying to sandbag. That's kind of what I'm expecting to happen. And here he goes with Y Cruncher. Man, that's a tough one to start with.
But he has no score, so maybe just a placeholder. Who knows? Who knows? Like, we actually still don't know whether his system is behaving. He may just have settled for this setup and now putting out sort of semi-placeholders. But yeah, he's applying a lot of tweaks, so it's looking like everything's singing now, but too early to tell. Until we actually see him complete a run and see a good score and see him save it, we can't be sure.
Yeah, and the other thing I want to point out is the current scores he has up aren't bad. They're really not. So if he can like get in that same ballpark, it will push him ahead of Spokey, which will knock Spokey out of the running and push him into third. That means that you're going to have Sebi, Demon, and Surgeman this afternoon really having to push hard to get ahead of him. So if my speculations are true, he's going to be able to go bam, 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 hit out some scores, and he's got enough time to do it. So he can't count out CENS. It's crazy.
Yeah, you can, however, I would venture to guess count out Dede.
Yeah, that's kind of sad.
He's got so little time left for what he's got to achieve. So maybe to sort of re-summarize, eliminations or provisional, let's call them provisional eliminations. There's still, people can get disqualified, all kinds of things can happen, but as things stand, we have Hansky, Spokey, and Dede out, and the remaining 6 still in the running, with Biso and Bl4ckdot looking extremely strong to make the final, and the 4 remaining are in contention for that third and final spot for the finals. All right, another restart.
It's definitely going to be interesting. It's definitely going to be interesting to see how this works out. Like you said, it's likely Spokey, Hansky, and Dede are out. That's rough, but that's just how it goes. Somebody's got to get eliminated, and you're going to have issues. Dede, unfortunately, I can't even imagine flying all the way to Taiwan, getting ready for this competition, and having nothing but pain. Usually you have one good session and one bad session. He's getting cursed with 2 bad ones. So I got to tip my hat to him for making it to the finals, but he is having a rough go of it. I think he's got a cold bug on one of his sticks of memory. It could be that, like, he's not pouring LN2 or anything. He doesn't have any insulation on his pot. He's got a fan blowing on it to keep the pot cool, which tells me that he's basically using it like an air cooler right now. And it looks like he's in BIOS changing some things, which means his system isn't completely dead. This is the first time in a while I've seen him messing with his keyboard, which is nice to see. But man, it's rough. Here's another thought I had. What if there's an issue with his M.2 slot?
Could be, but there's multiple slots on the board, so.
Yeah, that's true. That's possible. But
so Paul said, "Please show Bl4ckdot. I can't see him in person because of the girls. I swapped over there, and there was no signal." Then Spokey is like, "Just watch the girls," which is a fair point. Like, if I had a choice between that and the bench, I know what my choice would be. Yeah, Dede looking extremely pensive. What's CENS up to? Okay, that's Bl4ckdot then. He is back in OS.
Yeah, he's trying to improve his pi prime. He is very close to first. He's like what, 600 milliseconds behind, which it is a lot at this level, but it's not unobtainium. I personally, and he's got, that's the thing, he's still got time to improve Super Pi and his Valid, which are both things that need more improvement than his Pi Prime. So that would probably be the route I would go, but you got to think, if he's actually got more points to gain by taking first in Pi Prime, because that would net him 5 points, whereas the other ones would net him like 3 or 4. So from a point strategy, it makes more sense to go for Pi Prime, especially since you're so close. However, if you can bump multiple spots in Super Pi or Frequency Valid, then you've got more to gain there. So there's more headroom on Frequency Valid and Super Pi, but there's more to be gained in a single jump in Pi Prime. So I don't know. What do you think? What would you be doing?
Well, the other question is, does he consider himself to be so safe that he's now using the time to improve, like to answer questions in benches where he still has questions? You know what I mean? Like, maybe he's so safe in terms of qualification that he's just benching whatever bench he wants to spend time on. not for the rankings, but in preparation for the finals. That's certainly it's out there as an option. I don't think it's likely. Also, we're only halfway through the session, so he has so much time that basically whatever bench he's on, he can just keep benching if he feels like there's something left to gain. Because there is like this context switching kind of issue between benches. There's a little bit of a different kind of, that is an improvement. The last one I saw was a 137.
Yep. He's not quite up with Biso, but he is in spitting.
Well, who is?
For sure.
Biso is a one of a kind, and he's a machine. So, yeah. I mean, I get that this sort of attitude. I mean, if you're on the bubble, if you're in danger of elimination, then you have to just sort of push through and move on to the next bench earlier than you would like to. However, he has the luxury of just running whatever he wants right now. If later in the session it turns out that CENS has come alive and becomes a threat, he can still switch his approach. But CENS is right next to him on the stage, so if he sees no signs of life, then he can just do this, just sort of chill,
Yeah, I mean, can you imagine being so far ahead in a competition that you just get to have fun? Like, that was like CENS in the finals last year. It almost made it boring to cast and watch. Oh, hi, Mark. He was in this shot behind you.
Nice.
Yeah, it's gotta be a good feeling to know you've got room to play with. Now, I will say this. This happened last year in the final round, where if you think about it, if you're in first, you're in a great spot, but you also have the most points to lose per bump. So even though Biso is in second, if he gets bumped from second to third, he's going to lose, I think, 2 points or 4 points. 2 points, I think. Whereas if you go from first to second, you lose 5. So your losses at the top end are much higher than your losses a spot or 2 down. And the way it worked out last year, if I recall, is you had a couple people posting up insane scores in a single category that started knocking down the leader, but not affecting the guys in second or third quite as much. So it really made things jumble up quite a bit. So we'll see how things turn out. We've also got CENS on stage that is not going to go down without a fight. So we're going to see how that rolls out.
So I wonder if Salty just prefers his screen to be sideways like that, or whether that's an attempt to have it show up on stream. It could go away. It is a bit weird how it's at 45 degrees to his line of sight, but maybe that's just how he rolls. I know that Young Pro, when he benches, he has his rig kind of the opposite way to how you would expect it, such that on an old platform the postcode display is not visible, but then he'll take an old audio CD and put that next to the postcode, and he looks at the reflection of the postcode.
That's cool. That's clever. I like that. Because if you think about it, there's advantages to that. Because if you need to stick in your USB stick, your ports are right there. Very nice. Your pot is right next to you. So I definitely understand why that would make sense. I keep the postcode facing towards, so the way I've got it is my test bench is actually right there. And the postcode is closest to me with the SATA ports and the 24 pin like against the front edge of my desk here. But the downside is that puts the pot farthest away from me, and all of my USB ports on the back. So I might actually have to adopt that style, but that also means I'm going to have to reconfigure my entire test bench, which I just built, so I'm not interested in doing that. So we'll see. Hey, we got Dede in OS. He's not porting any LN2. In fact, I don't think he has his rods even tightened down. But that's an improvement. I'm not sure what's going on.
So that's a 7-zip run.
We'll see once he opens up CPU. He's at 5 gigahertz.
Whoa.
I mean, that's
Okay.
I wish we could see what's going on. He might be down to single channel or something, because that seems even low for stock. But he is getting insulation ready, it looks like.
Yeah, with the theory crafting again, I just wonder whether it matters or not, because like we talked about before, placement is irrelevant as long as you make the final. So theory crafting the rankings between Bl4ckdot and Biso, it's just I have a hard time imagining that they're not currently at least guaranteed second and third. I mean, quite possibly one of them is going to be qualified first, but yeah, lower than that would mean a killer afternoon session between Demon and Surgeman. And who am I forgetting? Sebi.
Yeah, so Paul says that Bl4ckdot is pulling up to swap CPUs for frequency valid. Good call, in my opinion.
He's
and
like, I have
CENS,
so much time. I can swap onto the better validation IMC live on stage. Wow.
Yeah, that's crazy. I think we're having a little bit of the hitching with your audio, so I'm going to disable my camera and see if my settings got reset for some reason. Also, you're streaming to my YouTube channel, which I very much appreciate, but we have had 0 views on there. So if you need bandwidth, you can close that down, because that doesn't seem to be getting us any views. But yeah, I'm going to turn off my camera quick and make sure the settings are still good.
Yeah, well, that's happening. Let's check in on Team Gigabyte. See, there we go. Surge is he's moving around his screen. He doesn't like the 45 degrees skew that Mr. Salty favored. Paul's back out there.
Okay, so it would appear that my settings haven't changed from yesterday for my camera, so we should be good there. But yeah, if you need more bandwidth, turning off my YouTube channel is perfectly fine.
So we have CENS in OS. He had a 5B coefficient is too large. I mean, is there a scenario in which a bencher with only 5 scores can qualify? I think that feels quite far-fetched. So he's right to focus on 5B, because essentially, if he doesn't get a score, he's out, I would imagine.
Yeah, and like we've said before, if you can pass 5B at a given set of settings, you can probably pass everything else. So I think if you're in the position that you're in, that CENS is in, and you just need to knock out scores, get 5B done, run all the benchmarks with that profile, then start fine-tuning the other benches. He's got a good valid. He's got a pretty good 32M. He's in second for 32M, second for valid, if I'm not mistaken. And his 7-zip is not bad either. I think he's in third for that. So he's definitely in the running if he can punch out even some like third or fourth place rankings for the other benches. The one that's going to be the kicker for him, I think, is going to be Evolve, just because nobody really understands it. But I think it's going to be, that might be the tough one. But yeah, just get some scores up at this point.
Yeah, and it's almost like Dede is calling it. I mean, not a lot going on there. Still waiting on picks from...
he's mounting insulation.
We literally have no one up and running. See, this is why I'm in favor of adding a 4th bencher, because I think that would guard against these kind of situations. But we do have a much better setup this year than last year, because we have the camera on the world record stage. Just thinking out loud a little bit here. This morning I had a little bit of spare time and I looked at the stage design to see if potentially there were, because I do have a spare camera and there is a sixth HDMI run from the stage into my booth. I was hoping to maybe mount a sensor camera, but it's super tough because the front edge of the stage in that section is basically sheer. There's no sort of lip or edge for me to clamp onto. I wouldn't be comfortable putting a mini tripod there. That's definitely going to get knocked. Clamp is a better way to go than a tripod. And the other option is a camera up high looking down, but there's also nowhere to mount it because the LED wall is right there. So, I mean, work in progress, but right now I'm not seeing an easy way to get the center camera in. The next best thing I have is this whole thing of like zooming into the existing cameras, which I was using earlier a little bit. Yeah, so we do have CENS in OS, so but he's also on Struggle Street, man. I mean, he's nowhere near as resigned as Dede is, but you know, he's also nowhere near Bl4ckdot. He's the little guy in the session, but very much in trouble. We had a question: how much time is there left in the session? About an hour. Yeah, he's not doing well.
Yep. We do have Day pouring LN2 again, so he seems like he's not giving up. I like that. I like that fighting spirit. He's not throwing in the towel yet, despite the fact that he's really struggled. And I honestly, this may sound terrible, and I hope he has a fighting chance to get into the finals. But at this point, it's trying to stay out of the last, I think.
Yeah,
I mean, I don't know what
absolutely.
you think, but that's kind of where I'm coming from. I'm gonna be right back. I'm gonna grab some. I'm getting a headache, so I'm gonna grab something to deal with that. You can hold
A
down
beer,
the
right?
just a moment. I wish.
Yeah, not a lot to talk about right now. I mean, if there is something to talk about, it's the left-hand side of the stage. Traditionally, whatever scores are produced are put up sort of towards the end of the day, or maybe even after the venue is closed, so we won't know the scores until then. But yeah, I take the opportunity to take off my headset because my ears do get a bit sore underneath there. And it is loud in the venue. It certainly is loud in the venue. Just having a look through the different chats to see if anyone's asking any questions. 5 average scores, yeah. Dede is good. All of these benchers are good. It's just sometimes it doesn't come together on the day. Yeah, and what we haven't sort of discussed so far is there is extra money because the prize money does scale up for every position in the rankings. There's obviously the sort of honor aspect of not coming last, but there is a not so inconsiderable difference in terms of prize money as well. And we see the Louisa coffee again on stage, fueling everyone.
All right, what'd I miss?
Nothing. No, we're talking about prize money. Point of the way that the prize money works, there's a scaling up of it from 9th all the way up to 1st. So for the people definitely not making the final, there is still an incentive to improve their scores because if they can get out of 9th into 8th or 8th into 7th, that's a little bit of extra cash. I did just throw the link to the prize pool into chat. What do you, it's a tough balance because if I put in place too much noise suppression, people will, or not enough noise suppression, people will complain about the background noise. If I put in place too much noise suppression, then they'll say my voice is dropping, my mic is dropping. So damned one way and damned the other as well. At the lower placement, there's $1 difference. Okay, me, nature's calling again, and there's also absolutely nothing going on right now. I mean, I'll show combined view. I mean, let me go for a little walk.
He's crossing his fingers.
Nice. I'll be right back.
Yep, he's crossing his fingers. He's in OS. Oh my goodness, he's in OS. I don't have the screen controls, so I can't switch it, but we'll try to discern what he's doing from here. It looks like he's opened up Benchmate, maybe doing some OS tweaks, which are a big part of this overclocking thing, so definitely important that he gets those done, but it's also very important that he just gets some runs in. I don't know what CENS is up to, but it does not look like he's got another run in for anything. Yes, Dede has a benchmark open. It looks like maybe Y Cruncher, and he's checking CPU-Z probably just to make sure that his frequencies are good on his CPU, and he's rebooting. So he looks a lot happier than he did about 10 minutes ago, though, so that's a good sign. I'm very, very hopeful. Let's everyone cross our fingers for Dede, because he deserves to have a little bit of luck here. And as far as he's concerned, luck looks like getting your system up and running. So we're very hopeful. He's not torching up. He's got LN2 going. Glad to see it. Yeah, CENS does not look like he's running the benchmark, although he might be. He's pouring LN2. Looks like, I don't know what Biso's tackling there in the background, but it looks like he's packing up a bag or unpacking a bag. Got his flashlight out. So I'm curious if Bl4ckdot is ready to start benching his better valid CPU. Spokler says, I think Bl4ckdot is definitely going to finals. It certainly looks like that, but I would not. We've got some very strong contenders in the last round. Surgeman obviously showing what he can do with his memory valid, and you've got Sebi and Demon both in that group as well. So I doubt CENS or Dede will knock out Bl4ckdot or Biso, but well, and then you've got to yeah, Bl4ckdot's ahead of Biso right now in almost every category. The way it would have to work out is Bl4ckdot would have to lose first in basically the 3 categories that he has first in, and then but it would have to be done by 3 different competitors to knock him down. That's tough. So because he has to drop below Biso at the moment. He's at 361 points. Biso is at 358. If he gets knocked down in those three categories, he would drop below Biso. But that also means you have to have 2 other competitors with good enough scores to knock both of those, to knock him down another peg, which is just going to be tough. I know at the end of yesterday we were saying Biso seems like a shoe-in for the finals, and he still has some first place spots. He's first in 32 and by a pretty good margin. He's first in 7-zip, is that right? Pi Prime. He's first in Pi Prime. That's going to be a hard one to beat as well. Bl4ckdot got close, but isn't quite there. So let's just say Sebi, Demon, and Surgeman all have their work cut out for them. And I'm really glad to see that Dede is actually up and running. And looks like a judge is coming over to check. He's actually looks like he's posting a score. I think he's saving. Yeah, I think he's saving the score because he's got CPU-Z tabs open. So I think he's getting approval from the judges. So that's awesome, guys. Dede looks like he's posting a score. I'm super excited for him. let's see what I'll keep refreshing the page so we can see what he posts. But the judges, what happens is he gets the score, saves the score, gets the screenshot, but the judges actually post the scores and then upload the screenshots later. So that's Biso watching behind. That he's getting a little bit of intel on his competitors, which is a smart move. I'm not sure that should even be allowed, but they're not stopping him, so it seems like it is. There's room in between Bl4ckdot and B so that Bl4ckdot could then effectively lose more net points. But it then comes down to what Bl4ckdot does for mem frequency. Absolutely, yeah. Bl4ckdot, it's gonna take a lot to dethrone him and knock him out of the finals. There's no two ways about it. Basically, unless CENS and Dede pulls something out of their hats here, I mean, in theory, anyone can knock him out. In theory, all the guys in the last group can go to the finals. That's entirely within the realm of possibility. I don't expect that to happen just because of the scores that have been put up. Biso, I think, being so close to Bl4ckdot also makes him really hard to knock out because he's only 3 net points behind Biso. Now, I expect him to gain a little bit more when he moves up in memory valid, but that's basically where my mind is going. So, yeah, it's good to see Dede smiling, having a good time. He's posting up some scores. Let me see if they're loaded. Not yet up on Hardware Bot, but glad to see him there. We got a cameraman out there in front too, getting a glimpse of everyone on the stage. Wonder if that's going to be a G.Skill guy. Yeah, same goes for the Super Pi score, for sure. I doubt Bl4ckdot is going to be running Super Pi because he loaded up his memory valid CPU, and it's unlikely his memory valid CPU is the one he's going to be running for Super Pi. It's possible, but I kind of have my doubts. Carta, Dede is the one closest to the camera in the red polo, or salmon polo, I don't know what color you technically call it. And then it's CENS next, he's the buff dude in the hat, and then Bl4ckdot is beyond him, hard to see. He pokes into the screen every once in a while. But yeah, he's the one that's currently crushing it. So really hoping we get these scores up here soon. I want to see what Dede was able to post. Yeah, I love how Biso's just sitting back there watching the other competitors' screens and what they're doing. He can. That's a baller move, getting all that intel to see what you can do. Looks like, do they have the rankings up on the back there behind the judges? That might be where it is. I'm not entirely sure. And I'm not sure who the gentleman is in the green shirt behind Dede. That I'm sure that Johannes, that Unity would know. And we've got Lee Koof that walked back there with the beard with the LN2 flask. Yeah, that's definitely the rankings. That would be good. Come on. Somebody post Dede's score. I know he saved one. Looks like he's saving another one. Okay. Dede's pumping out the scores. Good to go. Glad to see it. Has about an hour left. Definitely worth it. Stop the count so I go to the finals. I think that there is a ghost chance, Spooky, that you go to the finals, but you were able to post all the scores, which is an underrated achievement because as has been seen, Hansky struggled to do that, CENS is struggling to do that, Dede is struggling to do that, so you got all your scores in. I am curious, Spooky, since you're in chat, if you can give us a little bit of information on why you didn't post a better valid, if you just didn't think that it was worth the effort, or if that was, you just didn't have time to work on it. What was the logic there? Because I feel like the potential there to gain a few more points was reasonable, or if you just thought prioritizing a different score was more important because you could net more points and potentially knock down your opponents. I'm just curious what your logic was there. Go for some other submission first.
So CENS
screenshots when you're at the top.
CENS is knocking out 5Bs, right? 124 is a pretty legit score. Is he on the comeback trail?
124. That's a good score. Yeah, that's potentially Bl4ckdot has the 124-1, but if it's in the mid 124s, it's ahead of Biso. So that's what I was saying. You get 5B going for Y Cruncher, then it's definitely good opportunity to get some other scores in. He could come back from behind. This is not over yet.
It was a 124-947 or something like that, but that's better than no score for sure.
Yep.
Yeah, so definitely CENS is not out.
So we have Spokey in chat. Hopefully he can give us some information as one of the competitors to see how things there. Okay, so here he is addressing the memory valid. Oh, I never did Gear 4 on this CPU, so basically I had a CPU that did good Gear 4 for the qualification phase, but it wasn't doing D2 NGU 3030, so I just picked another one. Didn't have time to practice Gear 4 on this CPU. Fair enough. Yeah, this is a little bit out of my wheelhouse as far as understanding things. So, but Unity, maybe you can give us some information to glean. Gears are basically the ratios for memory controller frequency to memory effective memory frequency. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Okay. So that's definitely good information.
It's not the same as command rate. Whoever just said that. So Dede is in OS. Let's give Dede a little bit of airtime.
Yeah, he's. I know he's saved a couple scores. Yep. So he got his. What is that? His Pi Prime score in it would appear, which is currently last, but it's better than nothing. So now he's running 32M. That's not a terrible in it. I saw some guys in the 3.2s. So I'm going to go to the 32M rankings, and we can maybe get an idea of how he's doing on that. Let's start from the bottom, unfortunately, because that's probably where he is. He's behind Hansky at the moment, which is not good, because Hansky is last in that category. But a score is better than no score. A bad score is better than no score. So hopefully he can just knock it out, and we can see what kind of settings he's running. That would be pretty cool.
Yeah. No, at least he's doing something, which is more than he was doing earlier. Yeah, I'm mostly aware of the fact that CENS is on the hunt. He's still 5B though, which, unless something major happened while I was away, he has many other scores as well that he needs to focus on.
Yeah, he's got 5B. He's got 5B Pi Prime and an Evolve. So again, knockout. I get why you're knocking out 5B first, but if you've got a score up,
yeah, but he said
throwing up the other ones.
Like, or was there something wrong with that? That's at this stage in the game with 48 minutes remaining. That 124 whatever was plenty good enough. I feel like. I mean, I don't know if it's subbed yet.
It does not appear to be subbed yet, but that would put him in third, which is not a terrible place to be.
That's
so
if you can average third in every stage, you're qualified.
That's right. Well, and he's above average. He's in second for frequency and 32M. So it's not like he's. If he could get third in Y Cruncher and then move on to some other stages, he's not in bad shape. And he could rerun 7-zip because he's not far behind in that either, at all. He is very close for the running in that. So that's honestly the strategy I would do. Get your Y Cruncher score and get third. Get in your whatever you can get out of Evolve, because that's a cluster of a benchmark, it seems. I'm glad they introduced it, but it is a bit of a cluster right now. Get in Pi Prime and then see which ones you need to improve on most.
I mean, Evolve scores very predictably, from what I can tell. But yeah, Dede is Daisy. I think Bob and Zed pointed out in the chat that last still gives you 45 points per stage, which 45 by 6 is 270. So actually, this is a stupid calculation, but if no one else were to put up any more scores, being last in every stage would get you fourth, which is kind of funny to think about. We have
yeah, I
CENS
don't
back
expect that to happen.
in OS. So let's see what he's cooking up. Dude, please, for the love that is all that which is holy, with benchmarks to something else.
He keeps getting the same results, and it's like, dude. Spokey says I would start to worry about CENS 5B. Do you mean you'd worry that he's gonna take gold, or do you worry that he's that he's spending too much time on it? I'm curious.
Or that 124 seconds or whatever is not going to get subbed. That could mean anything. We need more details.
Yeah. Yeah, and we see Dede, he's still running 32M. Doesn't look like a good score, but he's still having a good time, so.
That's the main thing.
Let's see here. 4 minutes 29 on loop. So, yeah, this is not likely to be a great 4 minutes 38. Yeah, that puts him dead last, but like we said,
second last because Sebi doesn't have a score.
Well, it's last of the sub so far. We'll put it that way.
But it's first of the French benchers wearing glasses. Sorry.
Fair enough, fair enough.
What's going on? So CENS just took a swig from his drink. He isn't sort of moving with the. Oh, do you see what McDonald's for lunch to follow up the Burger King from 2 days ago? Best news of all day. I've had all day.
Sounds like a good meal. I actually had a burger for dinner today, so which I don't know if it's dinner for me. I don't know what my schedule is. I don't know if it's breakfast, dinner, or lunch. So, but it looks like Dede got his Super Pi 32M ready to go. CENS working on Y Cruncher. I haven't seen a new ballad from Bl4ckdot. At least CENS started Y Cruncher this time, so that's a plus.
I don't know. Does he know something about like issues in another bench? Like, has he given up and he is just like what do you call it? Freestyling right now? Like, it's an odd choice. Like, I actually don't think the rig is capable of doing what it's asking it to do. I don't think he can get a better score. That 124. I might ask the judges about, because maybe that's the reason he's rerunning, is because there was something wrong with that score and he actually doesn't have a score in this stage. Huh.
Yeah, the judges have been pretty good about posting new scores, and they haven't posted that one. So, I mean, they already posted Dede's 32, which he just finished. So, they're on the ball as far as posting scores, so it's entirely possible it was an invalid score. I am curious to see what Bl4ckdot gets for valid. That's going to be interesting, especially since he swapped CPUs. I'm really curious as to how that's going to work out. But we also want to see if CENS can finish this Y Cruncher run. If I'm not mistaken, the run gets
Failed.
harder to finish. Yeah, it's failed. It gets harder the further into the run you go.
What is he doing? I hope
Oh,
him changing the startup services is a sign of him moving to another bench, because he's spending entirely too much time on this. There are only 42 minutes remaining, or thereabouts.
yeah, he's got to switch to something, and I think most people are switching to startup services to run Evolve because it requires a certain number of startup services. So that would be my guess, and it'll be interesting to see what he gets in Evolve, because we're still not entirely sure how that benchmark runs.
What is he doing now? He's rearranging his rig? Yeah. I'm very curious.
Uh-oh, is Dede having issues again? He's not. Oh,
He's
no.
booting.
He's booting. So that's a good sign. CENS is booting as well.
Or going into
he's gonna
BIOS.
go
No,
into
safe boot.
BIOS.
Safe
Yeah.
boot. Yeah, he's not.
Ooh.
He's. I don't know. I mean, if he's done with 5B, he wouldn't safe boot for no reason. Dede on the valids.
Yep,
I believe he's now kind of on the verge to being out, because his rig is still not cooperating, and we're in the final hours. So yeah, it's really crunch time for him now.
Yeah, Dede, he's just filling out the stages. I like that strategy from him. So once he finishes this one, he's probably going to get boosted ahead of CENS in the standings, despite CENS having significantly. Oh, I crashed off the screenshot. Oh, that's rough. And his valid file save was 4,000, which is lower than some of these other guys are benching. So
Yeah.
I don't know if that's the frequency he was actually running at, but
So we can interpret the answer from the judges either way, but as it stands, no 5B has been relayed to the laptop used for subbing. It may be that score has been saved and CENS is too focused on his remaining benching, and he intends to give it to LB later on. As it stands, the reason there's nothing subbed is because it hasn't made its way to the only PC in the entire building that has the rights to sub, essentially, for this competition.
yeah.
Interesting times. I mean, Dede is already out. Hansky and Spooky also we can consider to be out. Are we? I mean, how far away are we from our next elimination? Like, I feel like if nothing happens in the next 20 minutes and we have points remaining, I don't think any bencher in the world can knock out the scores that CENS needs in that amount of time. So we're on a very tight schedule now in terms of CENS and his hopes for this competition.
Yeah, and not to mention, he's messing with his rig, it looks like.
Yeah.
He's not paying attention to his pots or his monitors. So it's definitely not. Yeah, Bob says, Spooky not out yet. He's not wrong. He's not wrong. If things go poorly for the other guys in the final round, Spooky is in the running. He's still in third. With a 2800 megahertz on the memory ballot. That would be really funny. Okay, so CENS is back to pouring LN2, so he must have theoretically figured something out, and it looks like Dede's having some more issues. Oh, that poor guy. What is CENS doing? I wonder what brand his handbag is.
What? What did you do?
Did you see the handbag he has hanging over his shoulder?
CENS has a handbag or Biso?
CENS. CENS has
Well,
a
I can't
handbag
see it with
hanging
all the
over his
smoke right
shoulder.
now, but yeah, I'll try and pay attention.
Yeah. He's got a purse.
A man purse. Does he? I don't see it. Oh, yeah. That's. Uh, is it a backpack that's been like repurposed, or is it actually meant to be worn like that? Do you have any people in chat
I
who are
have
fashion
no
experts?
idea. Uh, yeah, I have no idea, but he's definitely wearing a purse.
Okay, so there's pouring going on.
It looks like he might be in OS. That might be BIOS though, so I'm not sure.
He is running Evolve,
Oh.
so let's keep an eye on that.
Yeah, that's what my prediction
So
was with
his
changing
messing
the
with his rig
services.
may have actually been warranted this time because maybe he was just pulling the display card in preparation for Evolve. So let's see what he cooks up here.
Oh. Carter, no real man has a purse. Well, he looks pretty buff. I wouldn't want to say that to his face, that's for sure. I wonder if he'll watch the stream after his round. I don't know if he's the kind of guy that will join in on the festivities that we've got going on here. But yeah, Spokey, you're not out yet. It's definitely something to keep in mind.
Someone post that meme of, so you're saying there's a chance.
Exactly. It's exactly what we need. Okay. Uh-oh. Dialog box. I wonder if that's going to affect the validity of the run. We're not seeing any artifacting, which tells me it's going to be a bad score. It needs artifacting for it to work.
So
Stop
we're
the
seeing
copium.
the.
This isn't copium.
It is a real possibility.
Look, yeah, you never know what's going to happen with Surgeman, Demon, and Sebi. None of them had a great time. Surgeman at least filled out his stages for the first round, and I guess Demon did too, but he did a very basic run.
Here's the artifacting.
Evolve. Oh, there. Okay, it's a legit run now. I approve. Matt approved, but Spokey, it's not copium. You never know what's going to happen. Just like in a race. It could be that the top competitors all crash into each other.
The showroom floor or the expo floor is emptying out a bit as it is 12:30 local time, so people are probably starting to go for their lunches because it does take a long time to actually get food because thousands of people have to be fed. I'm starting to think that McDonald's I saw Biso a bit, and I saw Loud Silence with the drink from McDonald's. Is that an attempt at a bribe by Biso? Did Biso go out and get Loud Silence a drink? That would be a 4D chess move if so.
You know what? If there was a guy who would be playing 4D chess, it would be Biso. He has a different strategy than everyone else.
We have a score.
Score that they're going for, isn't it? The
compute 5,000. We have a new first place.
The bottom.
5,100. That's a new first place. Okay, CENS is back in the running. Let's keep an eye on this guy. He, with the first place, everything kind of changes.
Yeah, that might actually bump Biso ahead of Bl4ckdot. Bl4ckdot needs to get his better valid up because that's going to cost Bl4ckdot 4 points, but I think it's or 5 points.
But the comparison between Bl4ckdot and CENS is completely irrelevant. What's important is CENS has to knock out points now in relation to the other benchers. you know, in relation to Spooky, Hansky, Surge, Demon, Dede, Sebi, and a first place in a stage he hadn't subbed before is the perfect way of doing that,
Yeah.
because he has just gained, in absolute terms, he's gained 65 points on everyone, except the people who had already been, you know, in the front.
And they did just post his Y Cruncher score as well.
Oh, so he did hand over.
That puts him into second.
That is actually great time management. That's excellent time management to use the dead time in the middle of the Evolve run, which is quite a long run, to go over to Albi and hand over the stick. I'm loving this strategy.
My goodness. Okay, he's not out. He's not out. He needs to get in his Pi Prime score, but if his Y Cruncher and his Evolve scores are anything to go by, he's in the running to make it into the finals. This is going to be close.
I mean, even without Evolve subbed in the live rankings, he's already 5th, and then you add 65 points, and he's going to be 4th with one stage unsubbed. So he doesn't have a lot of time, but he's very much still in contention.
Oh yeah, he's definitely got a chance here. So, like you said, he's got, what is that, 40 minutes roughly to get out a Pi Prime score, but that's not a 40-minute run by any stretch. So he's definitely pulling it out of the tricks out of his hat.
And I predict he's gonna just copy the files, shut down, and re-add the display card and go for the remaining sub, because he's first in this stage as it currently stands. Yeah, here we go. He's MS configuring it. That is a surefire sign that he's not gonna rerun Evolve at all. He likes what he sees. He knows that Bl4ckdot's run was legit, and he beat Bl4ckdot by, you know, a few cents on the dollar. And that's it. He's going to move on to the next bench.
Wow. Rickon, you can never count out a world champion. That's what we're learning here. Like, that's crazy.
But why the interaction? I'm sorry to harp on about this. Why interaction with other competitors and spectators? I don't know. Whatever. That's the last time I'll mention it. Go ahead, man. I'm sorry for cutting you off.
I was going to say this definitely throws a monkey wrench into things potentially for Biso, because Bl4ckdot is ahead of Biso in a lot of the stages. Not all of them, but enough to make it where he basically Bl4ckdot needs to get a really good valid up, and then he's safe, I would say. I mean, there's always the next group, but if Sebi and or Demon throw up crazy scores this afternoon, it's really bad times for Biso. Now, CENS hasn't pushed himself into the top 3 yet. He hasn't dethroned Biso, but the potential is there. He's ahead of Biso in... Actually?
No, Biso's still...
ahead of Biso in 2 categories.
No, but you've got to look at the absolute scoring. Biso is still first in 2 stages, and he's second in a third. And he's okay. The Evolve isn't up yet. He's 4th in Evolve and 3rd in another stage. Like I don't think he's. I mean, like I've mentioned a million times before, ranking doesn't matter as long as you're in the top 3. Yeah, you're right. Biso is probably not looking in amazing shape to finish first, but it doesn't matter. I don't think he's under any threat to finish below 3rd, and that's what matters for this format.
Well, not for this group, but you got Sebi and Demon and Surge Man in the next group. None of those guys are slouches. So what I'm saying is, if CENS can get the net points, and CENS is ahead of Biso in a couple stages. Biso's valid, I think, is really hurting him right now. And that's one of CENS' strongest categories, and he still has 2 stages to sub up. So I'm not counting CENS out from getting second. I think Bl4ckdot is still safe, especially considering he's working on Ballot. But I would not call Biso as safe as we would have initially thought, especially after yesterday.
But there's only 5.
I
still don't understand what point you're trying to make, because there's only 5 points between Bl4ckdot and Biso. So how can you say Bl4ckdot is safe and Biso isn't? They're almost identical.
There's actually what 6, 7 points between them.
I just
And
refreshed and my
CENS
browser tells me 5. So
Okay, what happened then? Something must. Oh, they subbed the evolve score. Okay, so the evolve bumped both Bl4ckdot and Biso down. So
yeah,
Bl4ckdot lost more
because
points than Biso.
I think the thing we have to keep in mind is, even though Biso is in the clubhouse, so to say, to use a golfing analogy, they Bl4ckdot and Biso are both equally under threat from CENS. So I think it's a fallacy to think that CENS's scores.
No, I disagree, and here's why.
Well, he just
Here's why I
subbed an evolve,
disagree.
and it hurt Bl4ckdot.
It also hurt Biso. Now it hurt Bl4ckdot more, but
I didn't say that Bl4ckdot was more under threat than Biso. I said they were equally under threat.
You aren't letting me finish. Bl4ckdot still has room to improve in one of the stages, which is valid. Biso doesn't.
Yeah. I still, I mean, it's a lot to ask for CENS to put as many scores up as you're claiming he's capable of in the next 26 minutes, and for those not to hurt Bl4ckdot at least a little bit, and then also for the afternoon group to be so strong that they can beat Biso, because Biso in isolation yesterday we said he went to town, and I don't know. I feel like his 2D scores, 2D meaning not valid and not evolve, are strong, very, very, very strong. But happy to be proven wrong. We'll see this afternoon, I guess.
Yeah, we're gonna find out. This is the setting, the stage that I really enjoy.
And
because
I was about to say Bl4ckdot is running evolve, but that was just him waiting to go into BIOS. So no one's actually running anything right now. Let's quickly. Let's go back to the comp. Need to up my lip reading game. Yeah, I do have an audio feed here, but it's a little bit much to multitask that. I'm already on about 5 different other jobs. What's Dede up to? Not a lot. CENS is booting. Let's see what bench. Any predictions what bench he's gonna launch now?
I mean, it's got to be Pi Prime. That's the only one he's got a sub left.
Yeah, fair.
And I think he's going to do quite well. I'm not sure he can dethrone Bl4ckdot or Biso in the 216s, but if he doesn't make it below 220, I'll be a bit surprised. So we're going to see. He's definitely making some changes to the OS to kind of dial everything in.
So he's disabling power idle, and now on the work tool, what is he doing here? Let's see if I can spot it. He is making sure he doesn't breach the core clock limit by reapplying B clock. What else is he doing? Yeah, he's just making sure all the ratios are correct. He doesn't want to have to spend the time and effort on a run only for it to be invalid, so that's all good. Now, display settings, that was just to check. Yeah, he's mostly focusing on ratios and power settings. And here comes the Pi Prime. What is the minimum run you would sub? or save?
I mean, I would probably say anything under 2 minutes 20 because that puts him in third.
Okay.
So, but I it yeah, I mean at this point I'd save anything. Get yourself the points. He's currently 56 points behind Bl4ckdot, so even last place is going to get him in spitting distance. He's 49 points behind Biso. So if he can get 50 points, that puts him ahead of Biso.
How's step 1 looking?
Now, let me check. 25 is pretty good, actually. I'm going to compare him to Bl4ckdot right here. 25,
I'll compare to Biso.
25. That's faster than Bl4ckdot. So.
Faster than Biso as well, is actually on pace for the fastest right now.
Oh my gosh. Now I think Pi Prime doesn't necessarily scale the same way, but he's faster on step 2 as well.
Yeah, and the gap is widening. He's gone from basically gaining 100 milliseconds a loop right now on Biso.
Jeez.
The return of the champion, eh?
Oh my gosh. 74, that's faster than Bl4ckdot by almost a second.
Yeah, and he's over 300 milliseconds up on Biso, so he's not slowing down. He's still gaining in the order of 100 per loop. But will it finish? That's probably the... I don't think... I mean, if it finishes, it'll be first space, but, you know, it may still fail. Or, you know, benchmate errors.
Ahead of Bl4ckdot. Yeah, I mean, you're right. It has to finish. And this is the one Bl4ckdot struggled with a lot. It would crash at the very end, if I recall correctly. So it's not a given, but he seems to be doing what I thought would happen. Load a frickin' profile that he knows is excellent, and then just hit run on a bunch of benchmarks. Oh man. 135. Holy cow, that's first place. That's it.
So let's do our mental arithmetic in the comp
He
stage.
He goes to first.
In that stage, but so that's plus 65. Overall. First place, okay.
Wow. That's crazy. And Biso loses more points than Bl4ckdot because he's in first right now.
Okay. Well, kudos to him for pulling all that off after swapping boards.
With an hour left, basically.
That's pretty good.
Dang, that's impressive. I'm blown away. That is unbelievable. So.
Hold on. Boom. Is already closed. No. I think. Just making sure the effective is okay.
Oh, hardware info isn't loading. Oh no! Oh my gosh. Okay, come on. It's getting stuck. Oh, there it goes. Okay. Dang. Speed fastest says hardware info harder than Pi Prime. Looks like it. Did he save the score?
Yeah.
Okay.
He how should I say? He actually saved the score first, and then he pulled up the hardware info just to show to the judge afterwards.
Gotcha. Wow, CENS back up to first after having, an hour and a half of nothing?
Yeah, and...
That's a world champion right there.
Considering the developments next to him, is Bl4ckdot now going to speed up his benching? Or does he still feel safe?
I would say he probably feels safe, and he still has the possibility of being in first if he gets up a really good ballot, because His valid, if he can get golden valid, that would gain him 15 points, and that would knock CENS down another 3. So now, granted, he's got to beat Surge Man, which is no joke, but Bl4ckdot has a lot of room for improvement in valid. Oh no, Dede had 4 CPU cores.
Upper one will be better. You want the temperature. Yeah. Because we have used now. This is the old version.
Valid up. Bl4ckdot is 5925. That is not great. I'm a little worried about that. Let's see here. Memory frequency 5925. That only puts him in 5th, which gets him 4 points. He's just ahead of Hansky. Oh wait, he went up again there. Hold on.
He's doing the old paint screenshot. I love to see it.
6025. All right, check that out. I think it's lighter.
Yeah, for sure. We just haven't seen it on stream so far, so I'm glad we caught that.
Yeah, this is crazy. So he's definitely got something figured out. He's cooking. I don't think he's gonna be in crazy good spot, but he is definitely cooking right now. And we don't know what he's gonna do, if he's crashing or what. So, but CENS just absolutely crushing it. Okay, so he's moving the file to his flash drive. And verifying that the valid link is there. All right. Sends 135.703. So I mean, yeah, at this point, CENS is needing to just improve his scores.
Yeah, this is like the victory lap. We have 15 minutes remaining.
Can take screenshot from our stream. I don't think that's going to be allowed.
No way.
But
I wouldn't supply it even if someone asked.
Yeah, that seems a little bit sketchy. You have to be able to take the screenshot on the system. That's kind of how it goes. Especially if everyone else had to do that. If he's the only competitor that we happen to be watching valid for, that's not cool.
Where do you go from here,
So
CENS? Maybe he does a few push-ups, you know, to get even more buff, because he's kind of done.
Yeah, let's see here. So 6,000 will put him above Hansky. Sebi's at 62.15, but Sebi's got room for improvement on valid. Demon probably does too. He's basically got to get 63.70 or higher to take down CENS, who's in second. So it's going to be rough. He knows what he's doing though. Bl4ckdot is very good at valid. So
back to 32M for our old friend, Mr. CENS. Are the rankings live yet, Matt? Is it, is everything official? Is the last score in there for CENS or not yet?
No, it's not yet. So he's still showing in 4th, but he's definitely in 1st. Bl4ckdot's score got updated for memory frequency though, so that put him up a few more points. He is now 11 points ahead of Biso. Yeah, what's your experience? In my experience, if you get a not exact in round, you have to change some settings. I've never had it where I get a not exact in round, hit click rerun, and it actually finishes. Is that what you've experienced in the past?
On a benchmated run, yes. On a non-benchmated run, it very much depends on the platform. So he's
Okay,
deciding
because for
to move to 7-zip. Is it as a stability test, or does he actually feel like he wants to improve that score? I mean, it doesn't really matter. He's through to the final either way, I would imagine. Yeah, no stability.
error at the very end. Yeah, and I feel like if you can't pass 7-zip, you're not going to pass any of them. And Dede's just chomping away at what looks like chicken. Onion rings.
It's making me hungry. Please, someone deliver me some food.
Oh gosh. Yeah. So. Yep. CENS scores got posted, so now he is up in first by a pretty wide margin, 11 points right now, ahead of Bl4ckdot, and then Bl4ckdot is 12 points ahead of Biso. So that's what, 23 points ahead of Biso is CENS.
Yeah, I'm gonna go to that.
So sorry, Spokey, you got knocked out, but
So
we definitely enjoyed watching you bench. You definitely put in the work. You did not give up at the end. You were benching to the last second, so very cool to see that.
yeah, so it's official now. Biso with the only 4-minute 32 as it currently stands, and that's his only stage first place. Otherwise, still sitting pretty with 2 second places. Quite the gap between him and the next. I don't know what to think. We have seen very. It's just so hard to predict whether any of the benches this afternoon will be able to leapfrog. But he's on the bubble, that's for sure. I mean, he's third, so yeah. 2 people from one group coming through to the finals, most likely. So, what about the other scenario? How much would it take to knock out? I think CENS is safe, but how much would it take to knock out Bl4ckdot and Biso? You would have to, of course, have 2 benches in the afternoon really pop off. I'm trying to think in an absolute sense how safe the scores are. I mean, it doesn't feel like 50-100 is all that crazy for Evolve. CENS only did 1 run, and Bl4ckdot spent a lot of time on it, but didn't even end up first in his own group. So I'm gonna make the prediction that that is one of the easiest scores to beat. For stage 5, which is Y Cruncher 5B, these guys had a lot of trouble, so I actually believe that even though we're seeing a bunching of scores in the 2-minute 4-second range here, I do believe a 2-minute 3 and high milliseconds is possible, so that's not unassailable. What is stage 4? Pi Prime. We've seen very little of it on the stream, and CENS is the only one in the 215. That's probably kind of safe. Also, extremely bunched up in 7-zip. Does that mean it's maxed, or does it mean that it's vulnerable? I mean, I still feel like we saw a higher score than this that was like either invalid or not subbed. So I'm gonna say that's also achievable. Now, what about 32M? We have CENS and Biso both in the 32-second range. Valid. Surge already has first in, so in a sense that's the one least likely to cause an upset, let's say. What do you think?
Yeah.
What are your thoughts on all that?
I think that I'm gonna go with the ones you might be able to take down are Y Cruncher, if you've got the right settings, because that one, like, you're gonna have to mess with a lot of timings, which I'm not saying that these guys didn't, but I think Y Cruncher might be one where you can take down, although it's tough. because even CENS couldn't take down Bl4ckdot's Y Cruncher score. 32M, none of these look like they're going to be easy to beat. I would say 7-zip is the most likely to see some gains, and maybe Pi Prime.
Nah, it's got to be
But
Evolve just because it's a
CENS
new bench. I feel like that is, you know, people. It's kind of this game theory type thing, right? Like everyone de-emphasized Evolve because they thought they weren't going to be able to max it. So then an optimized score is currently in first. But then all it takes is for one person to spend more time on it than everyone else, and they're going to crush it. I may be wrong,
Yeah.
but that's my thoughts on that.
No, it's entirely possible there's headroom in Evolve, but the top two aren't that far apart. I mean, you're talking 13 points out of 5,100. So it's
I feel like
and then
that's a
you're talking
function
almost
of the crunch that CENS was in. Had he not gotten first, he would have rebenched. But he happened to get first by a few points, therefore he didn't rebench, and that's why the small gap stood. You know what I mean?
I understand what you're saying, but the gap from Bl4ckdot to the next highest score, which is Hansky, is dramatic. It's over 100 points. So I think there's room for people to get into the 5,000s relatively easily, but to beat 5,100, again, we don't know anything about this benchmark, but I think that it's going to be difficult to beat CENS or Bl4ckdot in that stage still, especially since the likes of Hansky spent a lot of time on that benchmark. Like, he reran that a lot. And I think, and Biso tried a bunch of tweaks on that one as well and didn't get anywhere with it. So I'm not going to hold my breath that anyone's going to be able to beat CENS in that stage. I would say 7-zip is the most likely. Having said that, CENS just got a 109.4, and the next highest is a 109.2. So,
7-zip is also the least
one.
tweakable though, because it's a multi-core bench that doesn't react to memory as much as the other benches.
Yeah, that's true. I don't know. I think valid, as long as you aren't expecting to take first, there's room, because I don't think anyone's beating Surge Man.
Yeah.
But there's definitely room in the, if you can get in the 6,300s, I think there's definitely room for improvement. I'm guessing that's what Bl4ckdot's working on right now with 15 minutes to go. So we shall see how that rolls out. But my expectation is that that's an area where you can get improvements. 32M, you might be able to get second. So I'm thinking, like, your best bet is to try to get second in a bunch of stages. I think it's going to be hard to get first. I think valid, you can get second. I think 32M, you can get second. I think Y Cruncher is going to be a tall order. Evolve's going to be a tall order. 7-zip, you can get second. And maybe Pi Prime. So I think the first four stage, or no, all the stages but Evolve are going to be doable for second place. That's the way I look at it. But I don't think anyone's going to be beating any of the scores in first. That's my expectation.
Let's see. I also I know that the point system sort of bunches the results together and makes things exciting, but it's a little bit like Team Cup in the sense that I sometimes yearn for a much more straightforward kind of system where you get bonus points for being first and stuff. Like, if you're beating 8 other benchers in a particular stage, it's kind of annoying that you only get 5 points there compared to second. You know, I'm sort of I'm hoping for, like, if it was me setting up these competitions, I would love a Formula One style system where you get bonus points for first. Like, let's say first gets 100 points, second 60. You know, Like, I actually think,
Whoa, that's a big gap.
yeah, but it's because I'm just sort of thinking of scenarios like, let's say Biso just about doesn't make the final, but he keeps his first place. I'm like, you know, you know what I mean? Like, I feel like first places should be
Yeah.
worth more than just 5 points across above second.
Yeah, I agree. But I would not make it as dramatic as 100 to 60. I would maybe make it 70 to 75 to 60. So then it's like, okay, I can afford to get fifth in this one stage as long as I get first in this other one. But I don't want it to be like I can afford to get last in all these other stages if I get first in this one. I don't want it to be quite like that. But I do get your point. I do think that it would be cool to see a bigger boost for first place. And we're not seeing any movement in the rankings at the moment. Dede's just trying to get his final scores in. He's got 10 minutes to go. Bl4ckdot, I assume, is improving on his valids, but there's no way to know. I think he's still benching. And it's definitely looking like lots of heavy lifting for Demon, Surgeman, and Sevi, especially for Surgeman, since he's been benching all morning already and has to move over to the competition after that.
We have Bl4ckdot working on valids again. So that's almost he's now got a 12k. So that's solid.
Yeah.
More 12,200 now.
6,100. Okay. Where does that put him in the valid rankings? Let's see here. 6,200. So if he can validate that, he's ahead of Sebi. But Sebi gets to go again, as does the next guy, Demon. So, like, this is by no means set. Oh, he crashed. Does he need all the tabs? It doesn't say he needs tabs for that. Maybe that was just... I don't know. If he needs the motherboard, memory, and CPU Z tab. Let me see, does Surgeman have... So no one else has a screenshot up for it. CENS doesn't even have a valid link? CENS doesn't even have a valid link for his valid sub.
Yeah, but like,
And
as we
he
discussed
got-
yesterday, that's just the judges being a little bit late on updating the subs.
Yeah,
Just
but he got that score 2 days ago.
Oh, well then that's, I mean, how should I say? We pointed out to the judges. The file would certainly still exist.
Yeah,
And
but they could be corrupted.
True. Valid link in comment.
Oh, is it? Let's see here. Oh, there it is. Let's pull that up.
Let's check in on Dede's evolution.
Yeah, Bl4ckdot certainly has a hill to climb when it comes to the valid. And I'm a little surprised he's not doing better because I'm pretty sure his world record is better than that by a significant margin. In fact, I'm going to check that. Benchmarks, memory frequency. I think he might be in the top 10 still. Salty. Oh, League's got a really high one. I wonder
Did he
if
just sub
got
one of the
that this
competitors'
weekend.
valids?
He got it today.
Nice. Probably
Huh,
just testing them.
Interesting. It's got a picture of the G.Skill or the.
Dede has a
Gigabyte
4841.
guides.
That's very respectable. It's beating the stock run by good margin. So Dede is like, you know, from first to somewhere in the middle there. By the time the session ends, maybe.
Yeah. Let's see here. I'm pretty sure Black Dot. Yeah, Black Dot's validated 64 plus before. So now here's the other thing. That was on a different stick of memory. That was because he's got to do it on the supplied memory. That was probably on a bin stick. And that was actually, yeah. So keep that in mind. He's got to figure out this other stick and how it behaves. But yeah, there's a lot of room to gain there for Black Dot.
8,000 CAS 38 for Dede.
That's low and loose, but it's a run, so that's better than nothing. Like we've said before. I mean, if he fills out his scores, he's going to be ahead of Hansky, which will keep him out of last. Which that sucks for Hansky. He was having some struggle busing yesterday, and we still have to see Demon, Sebi, and Surgeman finish up their runs. But if either of them have struggles, he could keep himself out of the bottom two even. So CENS is running 32M, which that's one he can improve on. CENS is first in 3 of the stages and second in 2 of them. So, and the one of the ones he's in second is valid. No, he's first in 3, second in 3. Sorry. So he could improve in Y Cruncher, but he was struggling with that, so that's why he's trying 32M. Wonder how he's doing against Biso.
Slower.
I'm gonna pull it up. He's lower than Biso right now.
5 minutes left in the session.
Gotcha. Well, hopefully Black Dot is able to get a higher valid up. That might not be posted till after the session's over, but I'm hoping that can happen. Let's see here. I might actually set an alarm so I can take a nap after this session because I'm
I might do the same.
So the next session starts at
Look at that. Towards the end of the session, we have all 3 in OS. It's a Christmas miracle.
Nice. It is. Black Dot's going for valid. Let's see. Let's set an alarm for 2:30 a.m. Okay. And that will be on, what's today? Today is now Thursday, I believe. Thursday. It's gotta be, right? Yes. Alright. Actually, no. I need to set it for before 2:30 because I actually have to be awake for the start, don't I? So maybe...
That would be nice.
10 after. We'll make it 10 after. That gives me some time to get in the call. Oh, this is... I'm loving this. This is a lot of fun, but it's also very hard on my sleep schedule. I wonder what Black Dot's valid looks like.
12,430 effective.
So that bumps him up ahead of Sebi, who gets to rerun.
Potentially, if he finds the time.
Demon.
Maybe he doesn't find the time. There's a lot of other stages to run as well.
That's true. He might ignore valid in favor of other runs. It's hard to say, but would not be out of the realm of possibility because he still has a solid valid and he's got 5 other stages he's got to run through. So we shall see. Do 3 more minutes, baby. Let's see what these guys can pull out of their hats.
CENS is done with his run, but
it's an improvement on his run, I believe. Yeah, it's a small improvement on his, so he's just solidifying his position in second, but catching up to Biso in 32M. I'm gonna have to talk to Biso to see how he gets those runs in, because that's an insane run. Need need some training on benching 32M. Yeah, and CENS is definitely putting up some amazing scores. He kept it cool even under stress when he was having a bad setup.
So here's a pic of the watch party at Zeus HQ. I mean, the picture quality reminds me of like the 90s, but impressive sized screen we've got there. Now it's on Gigabyte to also supply one, so we can show that on stream as well.
Yeah, that would be cool. So yeah, more people watching than the stream would suggest, for sure.
I just accidentally closed the call. Not enough under front of me. How does this work again? Yeah, Matt, I just accidentally closed the call.
I was wondering what was going on.
I don't think I'm gonna bother to even open up the video again.
Okay.
Because I got the image through Discord, and I had like 15 different Discord windows open because I had to copy the link in order to put it in my browser in order to then show it on stream, and then I X'd out of the image, which closed my entire Discord without being like, hey, do you want to close the other 4 windows?
Jeez. All right,
1 minute remaining.
Bl4ckdot got a 62.20 in, which, like I said, puts him ahead of Sebi but behind Demon. So that's an improvement, but nothing crazy. And I'm wondering if he needs to test, if he makes it through, which it looks like he's going to make it through. No guarantees. But he's going to need to do some testing for valid if that's part of the finals, which I'm sure it will be. Almost always is. Oh man, that's a commanding lead from CENS. He is 23 points up on Bl4ckdot.
This is the final run. We've just crossed the 1:10 p.m. mark, so yep, we're done. End of session. Any final thoughts?
Alrighty. Good job to Dede for sticking it out. That was a rough start, and amazing for CENS to have an hour of downtime before he was able to get any scores up and then just crushing it.
He was just lulling the others into a false sense of security.
He was lulling us into a false sense of security. And then Bl4ckdot, he put up some amazing scores too. He's only first in 1 category, but he's second in another 2 and third. So he's top 3 in all categories. So unless the other guys can do some serious damage, he's still in a pretty safe spot. And I'm not even going to count out Biso. He's down on a couple stages, but the 2 people behind him, Spooky, Hansky, are out, as well as Dede. So he's only got 3 people to worry about. And if those guys start struggle bussing, I would say don't count out Biso. His scores are not easy to beat. So he should have, in my opinion, put up a higher valid, but other than that, I think he's still in a solid spot.
Yeah, I think he's in a great spot. I think he's more likely than not to qualify, but it may be pretty close. It may be like a 60-40 type deal. Ooh, look at the that Zorch is it okay? It's like red at the start, at the top there. I'm a bit worried.
Yeah, I don't know. That's a little terrifying.
No, it's fine. All right. Thanks everyone for watching. We're gonna take our scheduled break now, and I need a lot of food. Matt needs a nap. We'll see you.